Hello. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing wonderfully. It is a Saturday versus being a Sunday. I'm aware of that. If you'll forgive my noises here. I'm eating a piece of dark chocolate. I ate a lot of very dark chocolate, a 95, very low sugar. Supposed to be good for you. Hey, Fighting Max, how are you doing? They say the flavonoids are good or whatever for you, but good for memory and the like. But I just like dark chocolate, so it's got, I think the whole bar has got like 4 grams of sugar, and I only eat like a quarter of the bar at a time, so it's like I'm getting a gram of sugar, I guess. But 95% dark chocolate, not bad. Or 99. It's basically baker's chocolate. It's really good though. I'm not doing too bad. What about myself? Not too bad. I have been traveling, of course. I will be traveling again this next week, but my technology, I didn't stream last week, couldn't send a thing out. All of my technology just bit the dust. I mean, completely could not get it to cooperate with me at all. And I didn't have the ability to send out that I was having trouble. Really, I didn't have the ability to stream. I didn't have the ability to. I couldn't get some monitors working. I couldn't get audio working. Very, very frustrating. And which of course I'm fine with. I don't mind overcoming the problem, but I couldn't get it done in time. And so I was like, well. So that is why I did not stream this last week. My apologies. In addition to the traveling and we have some initiatives that we're trying to get wrapped up before the 4th of July. My company is requiring a lot of back and forth from me. I wasn't really able to dedicate a ton of time to getting the stuff fixed. No, it was a software issue, if you can believe it. But it was a software issue that seemed to. One was a software issue, and then one was an issue that I was having with accessibility. So when it came to actually the stream part of things, I had the latest drivers, and I had just talked with Thumb about this. It wasn't like an electric. Luckily, it wasn't an electricity issue because luckily, I would have known how to fix that. That would have been a lot easier. Some of the wiring in my house is mine, right? Some of it I've done or had to do. I'm not uncomfortable with electricians' work. It's just I ended up with what's called we used to call them. I don't know if they're called this anymore, but they used to be called CREs, cyclic redundancy errors. And a cyclic redundancy error is basically when you have something that needs to be done in order to accomplish a thing, but that thing needs to be accomplished in order for the something to happen, for the something to be done. The most common versions of the CREs happened in Windows like 95 and 2000, where it was, I need to be able to find Windows in order to boot up, and in order to boot up, I need to be able to find Windows in order to boot up, but in order to find Windows, I need to boot up, right? And so it would go into this circle. And I basically had the equivalent of that happen. One second here. You've been having storms there. Where I live, specifically where I live, is very much a desert. We don't usually get rain, and we this year have gotten a lot of good. I wouldn't say we've gotten a lot of good rain. We really haven't, but we've gotten more overcast and rainy looking days and more drizzles than we have had in a long time. So I'm really happy about that. Now, I didn't have anything like that. So what the issue was with the we'll talk about the computer first before we go to the phone. The issue with the computer was I couldn't get my hardware drivers for my graphics cards, for my GPUs, to work. And the drivers were the newest drivers, right? And so what it was saying is we can't boot up, and we can't use NVENC or HVENC encoding until you update the drivers. And then the drivers, of course, which were up to date because I could see the instance model in the settings, were saying we won't turn the monitor on, these other monitors that you're using, we won't turn those on for you to be able to navigate. Well, the problem with it is it was still detecting those monitors, so it's opening windows in other monitors that don't turn on that I can't see. And so it's like I detect it, but I'm not going to display on it. And so I couldn't go and actually get the window to do what it was supposed to do. It was a frustrating thing. I had the same issue, similar issue with apps on my phone. I could not get my phone to notify or send out notifications because it says there was some sort of weird intercept. So like my wife was sending me text messages. I wasn't getting those text messages, and she would, why didn't you answer this? And I don't have any. And then it was like, you have this particular error code. And I was like, okay. And then I would send her a message, and she was sitting in the living room right next to me. And I was like, I sent you a message. Did you get it? No, I didn't get it. So it was basically something needed to be done in order to accomplish something, but that something has to be accomplished before the something that needed to be done could be done. It was a pain. It was just a bunch of. The way I fixed it is basically ripping everything out and starting over. Like, boot safe mode, one monitor. Let's do this. Let's take all of this out. And then the other problem with especially with the GPU part of it, same thing with the phone, but it was the other part with the GPU part of it was I had to. I would try to update the drivers again or install the new driver. I already had the driver, but I was going to give it another, just a manual, and that at least get the message saying this is the latest version already, or whatever. And it would say, your NVIDIA whatevers are open already, so you can't install or uninstall anything. And so then I would close them all out, force process tree, close them, and it would say, because they're closed, you can't access this. And it was like, you got to be kidding me. So. But we got it figured out. I get frustrated. I don't get frustrated very easily, but this was lasting, the better part of 2 weeks, probably like 10 days. I came back to check on it a couple of days after the last stream. Last stream was 2 weeks ago tomorrow, so that's 13 days. And I was having those issues. So I've been working on them in as much free time as I could. I've been working on them from like 2 or 3 days after my last stream until now. And I just barely fixed them earlier today. So, so I decided to stream today instead of tomorrow because my wife is away at Pride. She's at one of the Pride festivals with some friends, and I wanted to. I like to spend as much time with her as I possibly can. So when I usually stream, it's she has to stream and then I have to stream, so that we're doing something that we feel like is kind of But it's like she's away at Pride, she's with friends, so I can do this and not lose a lot of time with her. When she comes back, I can hop off and do whatever. So it's like So she's away at Pride right now. She'll probably be back. I bet she'll probably be back in 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. So I think I don't think the festival ends until like 10. And I know what she wanted to be a part of started at like. As a matter of fact, I think it's what she wants to do starts at. I'm trying to think. I think what she wanted to see was starts at 4 or 5. So, yeah, probably about 7, 8 o'clock. I get frustrated if I have those issues too. Hard to know what the problems are. Yeah, it's frustrating also when you have a program that's telling you have to do this, and then the thing that you have to do is saying, well, you need this program. And it's this cycle, right? It's the same kind of, it's like the logical thing, the logical fallacy piece, where it's just always where someone's constantly arguing in a circle of, which came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing. Of course, I mean, we know which came first, obviously, in those two instances, but it's like, it's that kind of, it's needless frustration. There's a good frustration, there's not. I do too. I hope she has fun. She showed me her makeup look, and it was very cute, very nice. I gave opinions a couple of weeks ago about not being happy about Pride just being relegated to a single month. I still stand by that, but that doesn't mean that I don't believe that people who celebrate should be able to celebrate. Matter of fact, my argument was that people who are proud to be who they are should be able to celebrate that every day without any particular escalation. It should be able to be escalated whenever you feel like it's appropriate. So I want to be very clear for anybody who looks at that and says, oh, that's a hypocrisy. He says he doesn't want this, but then I'm not anti-Pride at all. I'm not anti all of the things that Pride stand for, which is basically just the happiness of a person's relationship the way that they feel like they need to. I'm against the relegation of it to a single month. So I had somebody actually talk with me about that. It was like, oh, you don't like the fact that there's a Pride month, but you're okay with the Pride thing. I'm like, yeah, I don't like the Pride month, not because I think that people that are part of that community shouldn't be, but because I believe that all of what they are should be completely open and free all year around. So, like, But you get some of those people that look at it and they're like, I caught you in a contradiction. You're like, no, not really. My viewpoint's pretty consistent when it comes to that. At least as far as I know it is. So for anybody who might have accidentally mistook or thought that I was contradicting myself, nope. I'm perfectly okay with, and again, the fact that it is right now currently at least it's relegated to a month, which I think is sad, but the fact that there is at least a month for it, people who want to celebrate, obviously feel free to do so. I just encourage that you're happy enough to do the same thing next month. Because next month is 4th of July. Yeah, okay, we should be very proud of that. If you're in America, if you're in England, you probably don't care all that much. But if you're in America, 4th of July, great. Be very proud to be American. But, that's, be proud to be whatever type of American you are also. Whatever that belief system looks like, whatever that relationship looks like. Whatever good life looks like to you, be willing to be proud of that next month as much as you are this month. And when August rolls around and there aren't really any holidays, be happy to be proud and expressive that month also. And if you decide you want to do it together with a whole bunch of other friends, that's perfectly okay. I think it's perfectly all right. It's been a lot of this. It's so nice to sit down and get to talk with everybody again. It's just been a lot of work. I was talking with Thumb about some of this stuff, and he was running into issue, and then mine crashed completely. So I'm sitting there wondering, I'm like, Thumb, I wonder if yours ran into the same problem mine did. Because I think he was having some tech issues, and I'm like, wow, this is, and then I'm like, well, maybe he ended up with a CRE also, so I hope that's not the case. Speaking of which, for anybody who is, I say this most of the streams, for anybody who is, hey Ash, how you doing? I hope you're doing all right. I know kind of how you're doing. You and I've gotten a chance to talk a little bit. I was explaining all of the difficulties of me trying to get back everything fixed. Everything's been broken tech-wise. Most everything's been broken or intermittent for the past 2 weeks. It's been very, very frustrating, but we got it fixed. For anybody who is who watches this and maybe it's not the game that you're interested in, or maybe I'm not currently your speed, but you like the general idea, I do have people down in my description that I heavily recommend taking a look at: Fighting Max Ash, Vidi Plays, and Vidi's gaming videos, Thumb Bros, both on Twitch and on YouTube. Omega Ace Gaming, of course, and then my wonderful wife, the Siren Ivy, who is on Twitch also. I think all are worth checking out, and of course Mr. Fighting Max is also there. One who's very fun to engage with. I've seen some really cool games that I'm actually wanting to pick up from watching Fighting Max play, Omari being, I think, chief among them right now for me. But I kind of want a physical version of that, so I'm looking to try and get one of those. But yeah, very, very fun. If anybody is interested, that is these are people I highly advocate for and think are fantastic members of the community, creators themselves, conversationalists, and people with great opinions. So I highly recommend checking those out. Bookmarking the pages as new content comes out. Some of them for when the new content comes out. Either which way, I think it's a wonderful idea. These are good people. Side note, let me adjust my seating really quickly, actually. Yeah, I normally like the summer sale, like the prices. It's not. You say I don't like Steam, and that's a fair characterization. It's because I don't own the game. That's the thing. I was like, I don't own the game if I do that. I currently have a petition. I did not start the petition. Yes, there we go. GOG. Yeah, GOG is... Well, so GOG just recently started coming out with these bundles, and they are... Yeah, that's what I was planning. I was going to get Omori on the Switch. Since I have the Switch 2, I thought, well... Because I intend to travel with it. It's got the big screen. I'm going to be able to see everything. I'm not going to lose any. I was like, let's get the physical version of it on that, and then I pop that in, give myself the best possible experience. I got to say, I really like the Switch 2. I was going to say, I'll go ahead and say the GOG thing really quick, because GOG just recently started coming out with basically box sets. They're not real physical box sets. They are digital, but you do own them. Again, when you purchase from GOG, you own the game. You don't have to be online to play the game, or at least any element of the game that is an offline component is offline completely. When you download the game, you're not downloading a digital license. You are downloading the whole game onto your computer that you can then launch as a full-fledged, fully realized, disconnected application. And so what they started doing is they started working, this was several months ago, and I brought it up kind of briefly. They started working on the GOG game digital preservation effort. And this effort is to take popular games that have either one of three things. Either A, they haven't really been remade or focused on. B, they've been remade or been focused upon, but then they kind of get lost and the backwards compatibility on their previous systems is no longer, right? So maybe you had this collection on the original Xbox, and it worked on the 360, and it's not working on the Xbox Series X, or it didn't work on the Xbox One, or you got the game on the 360 and it doesn't work on the One, doesn't work. So whatever you buy on GOG is, so long as your computer is the minimum amount of powerful to play them, and in most cases it will be, because MK1, 2, and 3 were Sega Genesis games, you own those games. No matter what computer you change to, you go to a laptop, you go to a desktop, you upgrade your PC, you throw that one away, you buy a new PC. So long as you've got your login, you go in, you download the game, the whole game, onto your system, you can play it. It's yours. I love that. And they started the game preservation, this Retro Game Preservation Act, to try and do that with the games that have either one of those two that I've mentioned, or of course the third is that they hadn't been made available on this platform, or hadn't been made on this platform for people who exclusively had this platform, is what I was going to say. I was disappointed to see some things that I searched for specifically that weren't there, but they're definitely a good selection. So that was what I was going to say, and Omori is one of those. there are petitions, basically. So they let you put whatever game you think needs to be up there. There is an entire segment of the GOG website dedicated to this game preservation effort, and what they do is they say, what game do you think needs to be brought? You tell them what game you think needs to be brought to it, and then you click, and it will immediately publicly post it to a petition board, which is supposed to be expressly for the purpose of getting people to say, yes, we are interested enough. That way GOG will go and buy the licenses or do what they have to do so that they can bring it to their platform. So Omori is actually on the petition board right now because, as you're probably aware, Microsoft doesn't allow it. It's only available on the Switch or the PlayStation, I believe, as Steam on the PC. People seem to like it enough that they want you to be able to own a copy and kind of moving forward. So Omori is on the petition board right now. Command and Conquer and Unreal. I would take a look at that because let me see. Let's do that real quick. And take a look, because I was going to say I thought they had some. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they just don't. Because GOG also has a summer sale right now, by the way. 8,000 deals up to 95% off. Again, if you're a fan of Steam, I want to be very clear. If you're a fan of Steam, I am not. Would you want to play Little Nightmares on Steam? No, I'd probably play it. We own the Little Nightmares games on PlayStation. I'd probably play them on PlayStation. I've tried to kind of I've been a fan. Again, I've been with GOG for 18 years at this point. For some reason, on the Steam sale, the first game isn't on sale, but the second game is. Yeah, we have the Little Nightmares games on both Xbox and PlayStation, actually, I believe. So I'd probably play them on that if I were gonna play those publicly. But if I were gonna play those out there, but it's just I've been moving away from Steam. I don't. There's this very subtle push towards not owning things and being okay with it. Oh, you sure did. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I could. Yeah, I wouldn't mind playing the Little Nightmares games on stream. I thought you said on Steam. I was like, what? And then right after that, you said for some reason the Steam sale has it, and I was like, okay, so it's Steam. So, yeah, I mean, those are fun. I wouldn't mind playing those. I haven't played them in a little bit. My wife plays them, has played them too. Yeah, I mean, those are fun games. I enjoy those. And there's the next one's coming out, and I believe it's co-op. So actually, her and I were looking to play that together. We might even do that on stream. That'd be fun. Yeah, I think I would play this. I love the art style too. She's actually playing a game. I bought her a game that I kind of am interested in. I believe it's on PlayStation, so I might actually do it also. But it's called it won't be one of the next few games probably I do, but I think it's called a walk. What is it called? A Midnight Walk? A Midnight Walk. Yeah, Midnight Walk. Too much of a heavy L on that. I bit my tongue, so I apologize. But Midnight Walk. That's what it's called. Let's take a look real quick. I want to see this, because you say that, and I'm like, I could have sworn there was something, but maybe there's not. Oh, shoot. I'm trying to see if they're on the petition board. Let's see if I can, because I think that makes sense. All right, I might see. I don't see him. I don't see him on the petition board. I won't scroll through the whole of them. But yeah, I might go ahead and submit those to petition board because those are really good. Those are really good. The devs who made those left and are working on Reanimal. Looks great. I highly recommend Bramble the Mountain King if you like those. Yeah, I got Bramble the Mountain King actually on your recommendation, which I think is good. Also, have you seen Ori and the Blind Forest? I have. I've played the two games that are out so far. I think there's another one coming also. Those ones we also have on Xbox. They were very they were a very good deal. So the Ori games are really nice. Very nice platformers. Somebody posed a question the other day. It was like, if you could only pick one platformer out of, it was like Ori and the Blind Forest, Hollow Knight, Donkey Kong Country 2, Croc, I think, was on there. It was like, if you could only pick one of these, what was it? And Ori, I think, was the most popular vote. Not for me. DKC2 to me is I like that one better than all of the ones that were on the list, but Ori seemed to be the most popular one by a pretty good margin, actually. So I thought that was really impressive, and I did enjoy those games. It just didn't hit me in the same ways. I mean, I remember playing DKC. I remember like 1996 playing the heck out of DKC 2. So. I'll see if I might actually see if I can add those to the petition board then because I agree with you. I think those are really good additions. I don't see them on the petition board, but yeah, they added they've got some sales on them. But the ones that they've added to the petition board recently were like box sets, and so the box sets included Dino Crisis 1 and 2, the Heroes of Might and Magic bundle, the Mortal Kombat bundle, the Resident Evil 1, 2, 3 bundle, the Devil May Cry 1, 2, 3, and 4 bundle, the Prince of Persia 1, 2, and 3 bundle, which of course I know that's not what they're not called. It's Warrior Within and it's Two Thrones. But so they started adding all of those, and then you have, like I said, there's a petition where you can, or there are little petition boards where you can literally submit what games you want, and it'll publicly post it and say, hey, this is the board, this is which I think is really cool. Yeah, DKC2 out of all, same for me. But yeah, it's really cool. And the price on it are really good. As a matter of fact, right now, if you are looking at the GOG sale, and again, Steam sale's great too if you're a Steam sale fan. But if you're a GOG fan like I am, GOG also has a really good modding community, which I like a lot too. That's not just the modding community external to them, but also internal to them. Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 bundle is on sale right now, $1.49 for the first 3 altogether. So you pay $1.50 and you get the first 3. You get the first 3 games for $1.50, which is a heck of a deal. I mean, I think it's a pretty good deal. I might do another attempt at beating DKC 1 because last time DKC 1 is difficult, and I would say, oh, that's cool. They also just added Star Trek Judgment Rights, which is a point-and-click adventure game. I'm gonna add that to my. That's really cool. That game, it's a lot of fun. That game, so that's really cool. Earthworm Jim 2. Man, this is really good. I also every time I look back at GOG, they just every time I look back at GOG, they just it always makes me happy. It's always the classics, you know. That's really fun. So, let's see. No Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 is unfortunate. I agree. I think they're trying to. So I'll be honest with you. I think they're playing catch up a little bit because obviously I think Steam had carte blanche on the PC game for a long time. And I don't think a lot of people paid attention. I don't think a lot of people were paying attention at the time because we didn't think that it was we didn't think it was as much of a reality that we would lose ownership to a lot of things. And then I think when we started realizing that fewer and fewer people were buying digital, and then companies started realizing, well, people buying digital could give us a unique opportunity to retain the rights to that and have, additional control. It's like we started to see that. And as a matter of fact, I was going to say, we saw that in the Nintendo Switch 2. People that were using MIG switches have officially now found their console fairly bricked. MIG switches, for anybody who doesn't know, is a switch which the attempt is you can put an SD card in, and then you put it into your Switch 2, and you are able to play a cycle of games. The MIG switch, the intent of the MIG switch at least, was for you to legally put copies of games you own without having to carry around your entire library. So I have hundreds and hundreds of Switch games. I don't want to carry around that entire library, and if I'm traveling for weeks on end, I don't also want to have to pick 4 games, because if I'm traveling for or away for several weeks to a month, I might pass several games and want to move on to the next one and not have the next one with me. So MixSwitch was supposed to be a way where you could download all of those ROMs of games you'd legally attained, legally purchased, onto this thing, and then put it onto this single cartridge, and then put the cartridge in, and you were going to be able to play that. Now, of course, people can use that for piracy, but then it's like, you have the option, you can brick the system or what. Anyway, they bricked the system for people who were using MIG switches, including people who were using them legally. And the argument is, well, what are they supposed to do? Let the illegal people get away with it? And the answer is, yeah, because it's better to let people who are doing, in my opinion, it's better to let people who are doing minimally harmful bad stuff get away than it is to impose rules upon people who are doing completely legal good stuff. I think that there's a lesser of evils in that particular case. That's my personal opinion. So yeah, they found the console was fairly bricked. Only a few games would work on it, if at all. You can't connect online. You can't move your save files or anything over to another one. It's just done, which I think is absolutely, absolutely abysmal. I know DKC2 is much harder. I don't know. I don't actually think so, but that's just a personal opinion. For me, DKC 1 is a lot harder, and specifically Oil Drum Alley for me, but there are a couple of the forced barrel blast style levels, and I think that comes down to only one of the two characters really being easy to control. I think Donkey Kong, he doesn't feel good to play as, in my opinion. I think Diddy feels fine. Donkey Kong Country 2 has the same difficulty technically as far as the level setup is for Donkey Kong Country 1, but both Dixie and Diddy, I think this is also why it was so popular, both Dixie and Diddy are very comfortable to play as. And then Donkey Kong Country 3, which is my personal favorite of the, I know it's not the best, the objectively best design, but my favorite one, they fixed the problem because Kiddy Kong is big like Donkey, but he actually moves a lot more fluidly, and he has the water bounce, the roll bounce. And I think that game definitely has some super hard levels. Rocket Rush, for example, Stampede Sprint, especially if you're going for all bonuses. Lightning Lookout is notoriously difficult, and a lot of people are not big fans of Poisonous Pipeline. But they just did a good job. It's just so nice. I can't believe a Mortal Kombat collection is launching later this year. I've wanted that for literal decades. I agree. I like this focus on trying to bring back a lot of these classics. I do want, and I think that this was kind of said, new console generations are supposed to be even more backwards compatible than previous ones. As a matter of fact, I think Xbox is touting that theirs will be their next generation, which will come out in 2020. I think they said it's actually going to be 2028 for theirs, which adds 1 year to the console generation. Generally, it's a console generation, with the exception of Nintendo. Console generation is 7 years. I think they said 2028 was when they were looking to aim for theirs. So if that's the case, that gives us an extra year, which is really nice. But apparently, some of the preliminary stuff coming out says they're going to try and make theirs completely backwards compatible, all the way back to original Xbox 100% compatibility, which is something that no system has done so far. The Switch is not compatible. Switch 2 is compatible with the Switch 1, but the Switch 1 is not compatible with the Wii U. The Wii U is not compatible with I guess the Wii U is compatible with the original Wii, but it's not compatible with the GameCube. But the Wii original is compatible with the GameCube, but it's not compatible with the 64. And then the GameCube was not compatible with the 64 anyway. So it was like there's this kind of breakup of compatibility. Microsoft is saying they're going to make theirs, as far as I can understand, as far as I've understood so far, they're going to make theirs 100% backwards compatible. And if they do, I will absolutely. That will be my go-to console, because I have so many games for the original Xbox that I absolutely adore that you can't play, including the Prince of Persia's that I mentioned earlier, the Warrior Within and the Two Thrones. They can't be played. At least not the last time I checked. They could not be played on the Xbox Series X. I do still have a lot of respect for them, though, making it so you can literally, like Splinter Cell. I pop my Splinter Cell disc in there and it works just fine. So I do think that's cool. And I've had that Splinter Cell disc for almost 25 years. So I genuinely do believe that they're only doing it as some form of panic button, because Mortal Kombat didn't sell great compared to their previous games and wasn't well received overall. And that's probably fine. That's part of, this is a part of my philosophy is if bad people do good things because bad things happen to them, I'm okay with that. Like, if Mortal Kombat 1 did bad because it was a bad game, and honestly, as a game, it's actually fun. As a story, you're completely correct. It's abysmal. As a fighting game, it's competent. But if they do a good thing by releasing a good and competent collection because they sucked so bad, I don't care what their motivation was. I'm just going to take advantage. That's me. So I bet you're the exact same way. So I love backwards compatibility, and I hope it continues to be improved across all platforms, but I still love original hardware. I do too. Part of the thing that I think is such a shame is the original Xboxes, specifically the original Xboxes and the early, I would say, first two models of the 360s were absolutely the worst in terms of high fail rate. Red Ring of Death, and PlayStation 3 had this too, right? Early PS3 models were very susceptible to the BYLOD, I think it was, blinking yellow light of death. And then the 360s were Red Ring of Death, and the original Xboxes just had this overheating problem, caused things to melt. It was a mess that whole time. So backwards compatibility is very, very important, and I think also. But yeah, I mean, like, I still play most of my stuff on original hardware. Now, obviously, if there's an upscaling thing where I can have a better image for you guys to be able to make out things, I'm going to try and do that. But yeah, for the most part, I'll try and play it on original hardware. And you guys have actually seen us play Super Nintendo games and Sega games and Sega CD games and N64 games on those consoles. We're wired to play on all original consoles too. It's just funny to me how fans have wanted a Mortal Kombat collection for, like I said, decades, and now they do it after they have the most divisive game in years. Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think you're spot on. I think you're completely right. That's exactly why they're doing it. It's one of those things again where if I get, I know it sounds bad, but if I get my way because you failed, not you specifically, of course, but this big company failed, then does it suck that they didn't want to bring it out more quickly? Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely telling. But like, so long as we get the freaking thing we want, like I'll at least support that effort. And that's kind of what I hope happens. I hope that kind of wakes them up a little bit when the collection goes well and it's like, this is what we want, not Mortal Kombat 1. And then the next project that they come out with, instead of being Mortal Kombat 2, is going to be, oh, okay, maybe we should have gone back to Mortal Kombat 12, or maybe we should remaster it. Like if they don't do we talked about it before, if they don't do the entire like remaster of every single one, then it's like, okay, these are every 2D one remastered. Now here's every 3D one remastered, the ones that came out on the 6th generation of consoles remastered. Here's Shaolin Monks and Armageddon and what's the other one I'm trying to think of? Armageddon, Shaolin Monks. There's another one I'm trying to think of. But at any rate, here's the remaster of those. Because again, I thought I loved Armageddon. I thought that was a ton of fun. Tons of customization, making your character, all the characters they had available. Deception is what I'm thinking of. There's another one, though, I think I'm missing also. So I've recently found out Prey 2017 actually runs at 60 frames per second on the Series X, and no joke, I might buy one for that reason alone. Prey is a masterpiece and a favorite of mine. Yeah, you've sung the praises of Prey for some time, so I'm very, I like the, I really do like, I do like the PlayStation. Right now, one of my things, again, I'm playing Witcher in my free time because I love The Witcher, right? No surprise there. And I love mine. I have The Witcher on the PlayStation 5, on the Xbox, on the Switch, and on the PC. And I love it. My save file goes with me wherever I go, whatever console I have, right? My point being, though, is I love the PlayStation 5, and I'm currently playing The Witcher on the PlayStation 5 predominantly, even though I have equal access to it on my Xbox. But the Xbox just... there's stuff that they do that just, whether you like the reason they did it or not, what they did was fun. It's awesome. Right now, as a matter of fact, on one of the things I think is super cool, and this might be also on the PlayStation, but like some of the sales, they'll just randomly drop. And like RoboCop, for example. Now, RoboCop, I know this has been the way on the PlayStation before. RoboCop is $5.99 right now, the RoboCop, which is a really good game. But then they gave me the Ghost Runner games, and it was a deal for me. It was just a targeted deal, and they gave it to me for 79 cents. I don't own those games on this console at all. There's no reason for them to do it. Here you go, 79 cents. Okay, thank you, Microsoft. I don't know why you did that, but thank you. So, very, very cool. They also gave Tell Me Why out for free. I think that was also on Steam, but Tell Me Why is free until the end of June. So if you want to pick up a story-based game, I don't think PlayStation has it, but I think PC and Xbox, they're giving it away for free. All the full game, all 3 episodes. I'm very curious how the inevitable 3D collection does, because the classic games are what the casual audience knows and loves. The 3D era is special for huge fans, not casuals. That's fair. That's very fair. And I'm not as huge of a fan as you are, so there's levels to this stuff for sure. Obviously, I remember playing I was around before Mortal Kombat 1 came out, obviously. So it's like, I remember that whole hype, and I remember when the movie came out, and I remember watching the movie, like, I loved the movie. It's super good, right? So like there was a big era, and then yeah, things kind of seemed to die out in those early 2000s era, which of course 4 was super popular, at least in the arcades. And then I remember the early 2000s, things kind of they kind of dropped a little bit. They didn't for me, but yeah, I get what you're saying. That makes perfect sense. Viddy is in. Hi, Viddy. I had strange dreams last night, but I'm pretty sure none of them was a Retro Room stream on a Sunday morning. Morning. Would you like some toast? Welcome, Viddy. I'm sorry, I struggled to read that. Yeah, it's normally your Monday morning, and again, my wife is away at Pride right now. I like to spend as much time as I can with her, so if I'm streaming while she's away, I don't feel like I'm losing time with her because she was going to be away anyway. Whereas when I stream on Sundays, I do lose that time with her sometimes, and it's like, I don't want to do that. She's been... Hold on. Here we go. She sent me a message there. I'm eating toast bit by bit while the stream is... When you say bit by bit, I think of like the little chewing of a rabbit to celery, just little kind of the front teeth, tiny bites. May I partake in toast halvings? Toast halvings, I like that. I'll say this, BioShock is a near-perfect game to me, probably a top 3 game ever, and Prey 2017 is heavily influenced by BioShock, and I would put it on that same level. It's that good. That's really good. BioShock is a phenomenal game. If I were rating it in terms of technicality, if I were rating it in terms of how well built it is from the ground up and relative to the time it launched, I would agree with you that BioShock is I wouldn't put it in top 3, but I would definitely put it in top 5. But that's just, I mean, obviously there's no objective rating. I'm just talking about if I took the most factors, and I'd say, yeah, it would go in my top 5. But I admittedly don't look at games as an objective thing most of the time, or try to look at them objectively most of the time. I just enjoy what I enjoy. So for my top ones are the KOTOR games and The Witcher 3. So, I mean, that's the top 3 right there. KOTOR 1, KOTOR 2, Witcher 3. So, if I can put the KOTOR bundle, because it's a continuous story just broken up into 2 games, and they play the same, if I could put those all in just one, which Witcher 3 comes in at 2, then I think number 3 would still be DKC 3 for me. No, it wouldn't. It'd be Banjo-Kazooie, actually. No. Golly, that's difficult. That's difficult. I think it'd be DKC 3 and then Banjo-Kazooie. I've played DKC 3 since 1996, so I've had 3 years longer to love it, I guess. Talkie Toaster, another serving of toast, please. And then I yearn for the toast. That's funny. But what truly is yearning? And why can and does one yearn for toast? Is there some realism behind what we yearn for? I just felt like it deserved a little ornamentation of the voice. After Mortal Kombat 4, the franchise really struggled. I love the 3D era, but casuals completely left the franchise for games like Tekken 5 and Soul Calibur 2. And let's be fair. Tekken has been, in my opinion, in terms of the technical, not in terms of the story, but in terms of the technical, well, the story is pretty good too. Tekken and Soul Calibur are really good competitors. Like, they're very competent games, and arguably Soul Calibur is, I mean, I love, like I said, Mortal Kombat's story and lore is huge and definitely beats out Tekken 5 and Soul Calibur. But in terms of just no-nonsense, fun fighting game with decent story behind it, or decent lore, or a fun element to, just outside of those, Tekken and Soul Calibur are remarkably competent competitors. I am very, 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 very partial to Soul Calibur myself. You've seen me play Mortal Kombat, which was an absolute train wreck. Even though I love it, I'm not good at it. And I am playing, bear in mind, I did play with a 3-button controller, so I'm having to hit the start button to try to switch moves, and I'm not good at that. That's no excuse. I still am not good at the game. Period. I'm just not good at it. Soul Calibur, I was decently competent. I think we saw my efforts weren't completely terrible. I think we played, what did we play, 4 or 5? We played one of the Soul Caliburs, maybe 6 even, I don't even remember what we played. But we played one of the Soul Caliburs here, and I was decent. I did okay. I can yearn for toast until my toast hunger is satisfied, of course. That time will never arrive, for I will forever be voracious for the luxury food known as toast. It's funny that's actually, French toast was you say a luxury food, it's funny, French toast was actually a poor dish. It was staled bread that they had soaked in different various things that you could get from a farm. It could be dairy, it could be whatever. They'd soaked in all this to make it tasty again, because stale bread obviously is not particularly good. So the original story of French toast was taking stale bread that you had and soaking it in things that you could get out of farm animals, basically, and then turning it over and putting things that you picked in your own little garden on top of it. So it actually wasn't a luxury food for the longest time. It was a peasant food, which is such a cool thing to learn, because it's such a good food. The peasantry generally were so much more innovative than the wealthy, even though the wealthy's cooks were undoubtedly, you were getting that was the thing, is like, it's kind of the interesting piece of luxury, like the unprocessed, like bleached breads, white breads, that was the luxury, and wheat breads were the not luxury, because you had to basically process in one way or another to get white bread. Whereas wheat bread was kind of the natural, when you took the grains and made this and that and the other and added this is what you got out of bread. It's interesting how that's reversed out of the past 1,000 years. That's reversed. That is a good philosophical response with nuanced words and phrasing. I think mine are RE4, Time Splitters, Future Perfect, and BioShock. That's perfectly fair. That's a perfectly fair list. Those are great games. Resident Evil 4 is a heavy hitter. Time Splitters is, especially Future Perfect, is really, really good. A lot of good comedy in that. And then BioShock is super, super good. Super nice. Then I'm not sure. Shovel Knight, maybe. What do we have? SOR2. Banjo-Kazooie, Silent Hill 2. Shovel Knight's great. Streets of Rage is fantastic. The music of Streets of Rage is fantastic. Banjo-Kazooie is really great. Silent Hill 2. The remake, again, super well done. Really like the fact that they're doing... We've got the new Silent Hill F coming out, and then, of course, I know that I think the Bloober team is working on the first one again, you said, so... or remastering that, which is super great. Silent Hill games are a lot of fun. Resident Evil and Silent Hill games are always solid staples. And, again, GOG has Silent Hill 4 The Room. If you're interested in a fun, kind of much more niche, less, but The Room is a really fun one. Resident Evil 4 and BioShock did reasonably well in that top 25 showcase, actually. Even BioShock was a runner-up. Yeah, BioShock's a great game. The story is great. I think the story of it is... The gameplay is fun, but it's simple. And I think the story is kind of what breathes life into it. I love Tekken and Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur especially is unbelievable. Soul Calibur 1 might be the overall best fighting game ever made. Soul Calibur 1 is great. French, I'm leaving. If time is a constant, and so is toast, then the ever-expanding universe containing the ever-rotating earth that allows for the philosophical idea for time will allow for my toast-consuming desires to be forever present within that time-space. If time is constant, and so is toast. I love that we've considered... I love that we've made the philosophy, but the question, if we want to pull philosophy on this... Are those both constants? Doesn't the nature of a black hole and the existence or potential of existence inside of one, at least the way that we observe it, doesn't that prove that time can be variable? Obviously, spaghettification is something that'll happen to any person that tries to go and see it firsthand, at least with what we know. But, and that's actually the word for it, by the way. I have no idea why we chose that kind of word. We chose to call it spaghettification. But anyway... we found out time moves very differently near a black hole, in a black hole. So is time a constant or is it a variable? I know that was all in service to the furthering of the bit. I just want to throw that out there for the fun of it. The directors behind Astrobot and Prey are actually both French, so I can't dislike that country too much. There are some really good... I think there are really good games that came as a consequence of... isn't Peter Molyneux, isn't he French? And Fable's not a bad... is Fable everything he said it was going to be? No, but Fable's a pretty fun game. Some pretty good efforts. And then, of course, we've got Ubisoft Montreal has come out with some really good stuff, too. So, and I know Montreal's not in France, but we're talking about a group of people that are predominantly French-speaking, right? So, we got to cut some slack, right? Does anyone like to... Oh, sorry. Does anyone stop to think about the ever-expanding universe and rotating Earth, or are we caught up in the little present moments? At least we can be aware of the river that is history and charge of existence. Time is like a river, it is sometimes said. Well, Soren Kierkegaard said it is such a shame, or something to the effect of, that it's a shame that life can only be learned from looking back, but only experienced moving forward. I think it's fine to look at things on the whole, but at the same time, you're not going to be around for the whole of time, and you weren't around for the whole of time. So I think it's more important to look at the moment to moment than it is to look at the whole, but I don't think it's inappropriate to look at the whole on occasion and say, well, thousands of years before you were born, you didn't exist, right? And thousands of years after your death, you won't exist. So the moment that you exist is the moment that is most important, because it's the one that you not only can experience, but it's also the one you have the most, I'm not going to say control over, but we're going to give the illusion of that control at least over. I think about toast too much to have existential... Oh, no. That's funny. Time definitely freaks me out. If we're not talking about, again, I don't mind time if age doesn't freak me out. I have to be honest with you. I've been very surprised that I have maintained a pretty youthful vigor. My younger sister has begun to feel the effects of age, and her my brother-in-law, and my best wishes to them, by the way, have begun to feel the effects of age before I have. And my younger sister is, again, my younger sister, I'm the eldest, has begun to feel effects of age before I have. So I like the fact that I don't like to think too much on the time element, because for right now, whatever is happening, age isn't really messing with me. I don't have a bunch of, I'm not, surprisingly, I have gray hairs, but beyond that, I'm not very wrinkly. I don't not have energy. I haven't felt any of the things that age is supposed to do to you. So maybe it's just a matter of time, but I'm okay. The fictional philosophical fantasy made me think a bit about history and change, etc. I mean, it was fair. I've nearly finished the book, so perhaps I might review it in a bit on the book section of my Discord. That would be wonderful. I'd love to see your review on that. The Expedition. Oh, that's true. And that game was great. That game was... Click is a horror film. I 100% agree with you. 100,000%. Well, similarly, like, I think M. Night Shyamalan, he made the movie Old, and I've said this already. I will never watch it. It came out in 2020. Never will watch that. Do not care. Will not sit through that. That was kind of made to be a horror. Click was that before without the intent. And it's equally a horror film. That's 100% I agree with you. So, yeah, the Claire Expedition team, you're exactly right, they are. And that game, not only was it launched for a reasonable price, not only is it beautiful, not only does it play well, I mean, like, that is the Baldur's Gate, in terms of quality delivery, that is the Baldur's Gate of this past year. Soren was one of those last chapters I read in Sophie's World. Makes sense. Soren, he was a Danish philosopher, quite brilliant. He was heavily Christian, more towards the end of his philosophies. Whether or not you agree with that is up to you, but his philosophies that are a-religious, or the philosophies that he had that are applicably a-religious, I argue are still phenomenal. So he's one of my favorite philosophers. I don't necessarily agree with his opinion on all of the religious pieces of it. If you happen to, then that's perfectly okay. I don't. But his philosophies were were pretty darn solid. Especially even if you separate them from religion, I think. How do you know I've not been here since the beginning of time? Well, I think that there would be some evidence to that, like people finding imprints and impressions of, your footprints from 30,000 plus years ago or so, 300,000 plus years ago, I guess. But I don't know. I don't. Well, I've been here since the beginning of time too. I'm the Doctor. Very nice. Retro is 67. He doesn't look a day over 68. Thank you, Ash. Well, more and more babies are being born in my family and friend circles, probably making me think of time and aging. Yeah, that's one of the things that brings it into perspective, is when you're young and you are the kid versus when you get a little older and you start seeing or bringing in the kids. Again, I have a daughter, so, my daughter is not a baby daughter. She's not a little kid. She's, so it's like, that makes you think about it. But like I said, I just focus on time as an opponent to me, and I focus on working really hard not to let it win quickly. If it's going to win, if it's inevitable, then maybe, but not let it win quickly. So I exercise very consistently rather. I eat very healthy 99% of the time. I take vitamins. I take creatine. Drink water. I'm not a soda guy. I'm not a candy guy. I have dark chocolate, but I do it for the flavanols, it's not a sugary chocolate. It's literally like baker's chocolate. It's dark chocolate. And so it's like, I do all this stuff that helps me, and I feel pretty good. I'm not doing the Brian Johnson, inject my face with someone else's blood stuff, because I don't really have any wrinkles. So, which I'm very happy about. I probably won't do that even if I start to develop some, but I currently don't have any. And I attribute that to me not being able to be out in sunlight partially. Sun just absolutely it moves that forward for you so much more quickly than you have to. 67, 68, I'm over 900. Yeah, Click is great, but that ain't no comedy. I mean, no, I 100% agree with you. It is a horror film. It was a horror film for me too. To see it like that was it was, I know it was the like take for granted thing, and that was the element, but it's like anything that shows you the entirety of a lifespan consolidated over the course of a couple of days even is horrific, because it is what's happening. It's just the perspective has changed, and that perspective is horrible. So A horror film with more... Wait. Then the Undertale segment of a top 25 game click is surely different. It said they aren't bad. That's the oldest jokes. Those are actually the oldest jokes in recorded history. I believe that the first one dates back to a hieroglyph that they've been able to translate into... an Egyptian hieroglyph that they've been able to translate was effectively that kind of a joke. How interesting. They can be good. Most of the time they aren't done right, but when they are, they hit. It's interesting how long it's been since I've really, I guess, heard one. The joke, right? So I don't know. Time is also an opponent, but you know what is an opponent to me? Time zones. Try to talk with other people around the world. Either of us. Well, you're south of the equator, right? So like if that's the downside for you is like if you talk with other people south of the equator, the thing is, if you talk with other friends that are south of the equator, then the time differences are like the differences between my time zone and Ash's, right? But when you're trying to talk north of the equator, because of the tilt of the Earth, there's a big difference there. Although I think they've said that the tilt of the Earth is slowly reaching zero, so eventually it might not necessarily be as big of a deal as it is now. But I don't know. I couldn't say. Entire lifespan example 2. That's another one. I agree. I think has a horror film. Seeing himself as the old man, and yeah, I think that's yeah. I need to get back to writing horror. It's been a while. That's all right. I'd love to read some of the horror stuff you've got, man. Horror is just... I love horror, but the reason I don't like time as a horror generally is because it's real, right? Horror is fun to me because most of the time it's not real. Mass murderers are not common people, right? But time is. Time kills a lot. Your horror writing back in my mind, but is on the back of my mind. I'm really patient, not to worry. It's very nice. I was writing a bunch of shorts last year. I didn't get to read it, I don't think. All right, here you go. Okay. That's the Austin Powers delivery, right? The Scottish guy, I can't remember, but the Scottish guy. So I'll do it at the same time. That would be a bad thing for that. Believe it or not. Okay, this is a silly. Methane emission is a bad thing for the environment, right? We know that. Fun fact, all humanity, if they were able to release methane all at the same time, it probably would be a much bigger hit than all of the bovine methane emissions we have. It actually probably would be substantially more harmful. So maybe we shouldn't do that. I managed to talk to someone in America for the first time through Discord. It was my afternoon, which meant they soon fell asleep. Well, I'm in America. You're getting to talk with me, and I don't need to fall asleep, and you've likely just woken up. So it's decent, right? He'll be doing it. Yeah, that's true. He would be. I'm in Australia. Also, I like that you wrote out the onomatopoeia there. I like that. That's what it's the sound effect. That's not really an onomatopoeia because it's not really a word, right? But that's funny. I can relate to mass murderers, to be honest, because wait a minute, never mind. So how's Jedi Survivor? It's really good. It's a good game. It wasn't weird at all, Ash. Oh, what you're thinking of, that Futurama episode? That Futurama episode with the robots doing that. Yeah, that was bad, but it was whatever their emissions were. But we've shown that methane emissions are harmful. One of the topics that came up was that bovine, right? Cow methane emissions were super harmful, and to some extent they are. I mean, any methane emission is. But I think that there was I think they did a funny kind of like comparison, and it was like, what if every human did versus every cow? And it's like, because of the number of humans to cows, and because of the varying amount, because if that were to happen, it actually could be much more dangerous, which I think is interesting. But that episode of Futurama is fun. And then Bender himself is the one that was able to propel the planet away. I mean, it was just like everybody else was doing it, but it was just him. And the minute he turned back up from his back, because the story is he can't roll off his back, he's like a tortoise. Or a turtle, I guess, because I think he goes into water afterwards, and tortoise are not water dwelling. he turns himself upside down and just jettisons the whole planet away from the sun. Not doesn't jettison, but he moves the planet away from the sun. It was a funny episode. I miss early Futurama. I do look at my world clock a fair bit, so I know how likely it is that the Retro Room is not asleep, which means I keep on waking him up and preventing him from sleeping. Let me give you a phrase in Latin, Vidi. Nunquam dormio. That's closer to the truth than you think. Nunquam dormio. Retro often DMs me and asks me to sing while he goes to sleep. Weird. Tell him. I will make your day mildly inconvenient. No. Oh man, there was sheesh. I was listening to a debate today. I gotta throw this out. This is for the philosophy part of it. I was listening to a debate today, and I'll jump into the game here in just a second. But I was listening to it, and it was this guy, I guess named Charlie Kirk, all right. And he was I guess debating at one of the major colleges, and he was going against a student, I think Oxford maybe, and he was going against a student, and he was talking about, I guess he's a traditionalist in terms of like maybe Christian moral traditions, which again perfectly fine for him. But he was talking about, I guess, the utility of male and female marriage and having kids and the role of that. And I think he was pointing, and I'll explain how this mildly inconvenient relates to that, by the way. He was kind of talking about almost establishing traditional, quote-unquote, traditional gender roles. The male is the provider, female stays at home, has kids, etc., which we've evolved. So it's wonderful if you have that kind of a life or you want to have that kind of a life, but we've evolved to the point of where we all do whatever we need to help the other one out, right? Especially like my wife is a stay-at-home wife. I do that. We don't do it because of the traditional gender role. It's just that's what we decided worked for us, right? And it was like he was making a comment about how people in more third world areas of the world have the marriage is that traditional marriage and all these other different things are what make them happier and fulfill it, and that's why we should subscribe to this particular traditionalist viewpoint. And what I realized is one of the biggest things that is hold on, I can see that this laws come here. The only Latin I speak is from One Winged Angel in Final Fantasy. Nunquam dormio. I never sleep. We're all mass. Kind of, I suppose, right? That Kurt guy's a real punchable face. I was listening to him more than I was watching because I was exercising at the same time. So I listened to things that I like to exercise my mind at the same time I exercise my body. And so as I was exercising my body, I'm listening to the debate. Dang languages and their innuendos. Captain Kirk, I'm picking up the Retro Room, and philosophy signals on the Enterprise computer. Anastasia's in the kitchen. No, I have never said that. So anyway, he was kind of using that as, and this is where the conveniences come into it. He was using that argument for the traditional gender role thing. I personally don't agree with that. I think that we've evolved. I think we evolve consistently. I think that we evolve to do what's going to be best for us in small groups, and then that lends goods being done, or better, furtherings of particular initiatives, particular survival or whatever, on the whole. So small leads to larger, leads to largest, leads to progress, right, or regression, depending on where we go. And I realized that the answer to that, everyone has a punchable face. That's very true. Fighting Max, but what I realized is that the reason that he believes, at least based off of this conversation, now maybe he's got a deeper conversation than this, but this debate, he didn't show that. The reason that he believes in the traditional gender role piece, and the reason that that's where he gets the fulfillment, and the reason that it's strictly marriage, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't be fulfilled in a marriage, you should, but it doesn't have to be a specific type of marriage. You don't have to be married to a woman or a man or whatever. It's whatever marriage is because we've begun to take things that the third world areas do not take for granted. We take for granted. Survival is taken for granted because we have a much greater understanding. And when I'm talking about third world areas, I'm not just talking about areas which are civilized and poor. I'm also talking about parts that are, still tribal. There's still a higher risk of mortality in those areas. Even the civilized ones, that are just poorer, there's a higher risk of mortality, which we take for granted because most of us will live to be 70, 80 some odd years old. at the very least. Statistically, 74, I think, is the average for a male, but I think that's including things like infant mortality and accidents, so 80 years old probably. We have, conveniences like televisions, telephones, news, which constantly give us access to things that people have a tendency, people especially who are empathic, have a tendency to stress out about. All right, so it used to, you'd read a paper and you'd see a 5,000 feet away picture of a mushroom cloud. Now you can actually hear recordings of the screams, the pleas, and the protestations of the people that are being bombed, right? And then you look at that and you go, if you're a bleeding heart, you start to really care about that. That stresses people out. Your cell phone you may use your cell phone as an alarm clock, and your cell phone not working is tied into your workplace and all this. These are all things that are conveniences for us that we take things like eating every day, and we take things like being able to overcome a general illness every day, and we even take things like our partners and marriages every day more for granted, because that's kind of the expectant part of life. And we have all these extra conveniences that are kind of outside of that expectation. And when we lose those mild inconveniences, when we start becoming mildly inconvenienced, rather, we start kind of melting down a lot more easily. And over there, they're not doing that. They don't have all of these extra conveniences. So it's really difficult to get them to melt down, because they're all they're happy to do is be with their partner, eat, and survive the next day. Put in the work necessary to survive the next day. And it's when you raise that expectation and you add all these vestigialities, you end up inevitably causing the things like eating and partnership to have a lesser value, and you care less about that. So I don't think that it's actually the relationship that is making them happier. I think it's the fact that they don't have as many conveniences, or that it takes a lot more to inconvenience them, and that they have a greater depth in the few things that they do have, a greater depth with their relationships, a greater depth with the way that they live. They don't take it for granted as much. So anyway, I wanted to share that. I know that was a huge spin-off from the mild inconvenience comment, but I just thought that was an interesting piece to share. You think women are equal to us, Retro? Yeah, I do. I don't think... we'll go ahead and say that straight away. It's like everybody always perfectly equal across the board. No, of course not. My wife is taller than I am. My wife is like anywhere between, depending on what she wears. My wife's not far off 6 foot, and I'm not quite that tall. I'm like 5'9", so she's taller than I am by a couple of inches at least. It means that you just don't like the personal opinion, but maybe. Hey, I got enough flack from the other planets for playing Chris in remake, despite the fact that I was trying to intimidate Hapes. The other thing I didn't imitate from Hapes was, or wasn't able to, was a mod who accidentally times out someone. Oh yeah, I remember that one. Justice for Viddy. Hashtag Viddy didn't. Also, Sophie's World is about equality as well, more so historical perspective, which fits in philosophy as well. Retro pay me. Borrow #20 quid. Philosophy's pretty cool. It is really cool. 30 quid actually. Good lord. But anyway, it's like when you have more, then you don't value it as much, because we do have budgets, regardless of whether we want to admit it or not. We all have budgets as to how much we can care about things. Any person that says, I believe truly, any person that says that they honestly care about everything and everyone equally is lying, because I don't believe any person has that capacity. So it's one of those things where we do kind of choose our battles. We do have, different levels of how we can and, afford this or that or the other. And I think when you have less to worry about, less to care about, when of these conveniences, for example, you do have a tendency to place more of those efforts and those viewpoints and those cares and concerns into a relationship. I don't think it's the relationship that is making them happy. I don't think they're happy as a consequence of having a relationship. I think that they have a relationship as a consequence of it taking so little to make them happy. And I think that there is something to be learned in that. I think there's something that we've lost in that, so... I just owe the... Okay. You know what isn't pretty cool? Gaslighting. I care about everyone equally. Oh, okay. In fact, I would say it's pretty warm. Yeah. No, you never said that. No, I'm just teasing. No, gaslighting is not cool. can be cool. I've never tried that. Or did you make... No, or didn't I? He's gaslighting you there, too. Did you just do that? I did not. That's funny. That was clever, though. No, you shouldn't. You should try not to. Have you ever been? No. Have I ever been gaslit? No. At least no. Because. So here's the way that I look gaslighting. Now again, I'm going to take the superficial viewpoint of it here. So if there's a deeper meaning to it or a deeper, but like, in order for somebody to be able to gaslight you, you have to doubt your own faculties. You have to doubt your own memory. You have to doubt your own, enough for someone to come in and manipulate and say that that's not the case, right? And I've never trusted somebody who tells me something was or wasn't more than I've trusted the fact that my memory is, the fact that my memory is ridiculously well-trained, near eidetic, if not eidetic, in most cases. And so you have to be able to convince me beyond what I am. And because the person that I've known the longest, the deepest, and have trained the hardest is myself, the odds of you convincing me that I've failed to understand something or experience something it's next to impossible. And that could be considered very cocky, and if it is, I apologize. But it doesn't matter. I don't care. You told me it didn't happen that way. I'm not you specifically, you cumulatively, right? Tell me it didn't happen that way. If I say it did and I was there to experience it, it did. It's just how it is. Now, that having been said, equally, if you were a part of that and you say you did this or that or the other, then I'm not going to sit there and tell you my version of the truth is correct from your perspective. I'm going to tell you what my part in that was, because that is me, that is what I did, and then whatever your perception of what your part in that was, I'll give you my perception, but I won't just flat tell you you're wrong and stupid. I won't do that. Like, that's because I don't like that. My wife, like with my wife, sometimes she may not remember something, so I'll never try to come in and say like, "Oh yeah, that's what happened." And try to push the memory in there. I'll try to introduce things that help her bring back the memory, and then if it doesn't, I'll kind of try to softly be like, "I believe it was," because I don't want her to feel like she's ever being pressured. If somebody already has an issue with the memory, I don't want them to ever feel like that they're being pressured to see it the way that I say it was. One second. Hold on 1 second. I hate this thing is so. There we go. There we go. But yeah, that's kind of my thing. Like, so you're not going to convince me that the way that I experienced something for me didn't happen the way that I experienced it. But, if you're a part of that same experience on the other side of it, I'll take your perception into account and I'll say, well, that wasn't my intention. This is what I said. This is what I intended it to be. If it came across, like, I always want to make sure that if you had a different perception of it, I respect that perception is there. The only time if it's a gaslight thing is if you're coming at me with something that is factually incorrect, like that did not happen. And in that case, I will absolutely 100% correct that. You did this. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. Here's the evidence. Or if I don't have evidence, yeah, I did, period. We're just not having this conversation. I'll move away. But But yeah. Let's see. In fact, I'm calling it Retro Room Stream Conquers Bad Fur Day, and then all this dialogue in the chat will be probably. I should do a Conquers Bad Fur Day stream, shouldn't I? I have it on the rare replay. I have it. Well, I have a complete in box N64. Right? I have a complete in box N64 copy, but I probably will play that on the rare replay. Firstly, because the graphics, and secondly, well, I might play the original 64 because I believe the rare replay version was the heavily censored version, and the 64 version is not. So I'll play it on the Xbox in my personal time, and if it's the heavily censored version, I will play it on the 64 on stream at some point. I'm not good at that game, but I like it anyway. Remember when you thought that happened, but you were wrong? I may remember thinking about my remembering that I thought that it did that it happened where I thought you dizzy. Yeah, pretty much. It's all quiet now. Yeah, sorry. I was getting a message from someone, so I wanted to make sure I got back to him. This is DMing. No, it wasn't. Makes a quick something. From the Shrek ones, believe me. If it was me, you'd be dead. That's funny. But no, anyway, yeah, so that was a short answer made long, but long answer made short again. No, it's very difficult for you to tell me something did or didn't happen and me to doubt myself. Enough to even lend credence. Three things have to happen. I really have to doubt myself, which I don't. I really have to trust you, which depends. And it really has to be a confusing issue, which has a lot of stake on it. Because if there's nothing at stake, then I don't care what happened, whether it happened my way or your way. Whoever said it, doesn't matter, right? That's kind of where I am. So I trust myself a ton. I don't trust a lot of people remarkably deeply, at least not enough to take against my own account of things. And then if most of the time, if anyone was going to do it, it wouldn't be that important anyway. So I'd just look at it and be like, all right, whatever. And I'm lucky because the people who would benefit in trying to gaslight me, the only people who would really do that would be my wife, which she doesn't. She never, she does not try to tell me things happened. She's told me, she might tell me I came across harsh, but she won't tell me I was just this bad guy. She'll tell me, that was a little harsh. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I meant it this way. This is because I'm not very tonally gifted. I don't know exactly how I come across all the time to people. And so because of that, she might be like, that was a little harsh. I'm like, I meant it this way. It wasn't supposed to be. And she'd be, well, yeah, it kind of came across as, I'm sorry. Let me, I'll do that. Do an imitation of Shrek. Surely you can do better than Mike. No, I can't. I can't do better than the guy that does the voice. No, I can't. I wish I could. He's a serial killer and can't. He can talk. That's Michael Myers. Do an impression. I can't do an impression of you. I can't. That's the problem. You have a voice that doesn't. Where your voice comes from, how your voice sounds. You also have there's a melody to your accent. I like that joke. 8 out of 10. Very nice. You have there's a melody to your accent, the curvature of your accent. I don't have that. Do an Australian accent. I don't know if I could do it. I mean, I could do an Australian accent, but it would be subtle because a lot of people that do it, they do like the over the top, like they're trying to exaggerate 10,000 times Paul Hogan. And I think most Australian accents aren't that ridiculously exaggerated. Arguably New Zealander accents, Kiwi accents are more exaggerated than a lot of the Australian accents and Australian people I've spoken with. So it'd actually probably be very subtle any which way. But the thing about it is, specifically with Ash's voice, it's like your voice has a melody to it. Your accent has a melody to it. And it's quite pleasant, by the way. You and I've talked. We used to do the podcast thing a long time ago, and you have a melody to your voice, which I think is quite nice. But I have a very neutral American, somewhat maybe transatlantic style accent, which has no melody to it. It's strictly an amalgam of dissonant notes that I've decided to make harmonious. I speak very much from my diaphragm. So it's one of those things where it's like, I couldn't do you justice. I really wish I could, but I couldn't do you justice. You have a good voice. After all, my fanfic was tribute of Joey on Discord. Retro said I sound like Baron from The Witcher 3. No, that sounded like you remind me of. Well, yeah, I did say that, I guess, didn't I? I did say that because I was like, oh, you remind me of him. I meant you reminded me of him. You reminded me of him all around. But yeah, you're right. I did say you sounded like him. But not Baron, Barren, like you can't have kids though. Baron is in like someone who runs a territory. That way you don't the mistake that I'm calling you Baron. You wouldn't be barren, right? You would be the word wouldn't appropriately be barren for you. It would be impotent, but I don't think you're impotent either. I don't know, but I don't think you are. Accent has curves. Oh, Mike, go get it numbered. Well done. That was good. Australian accents were discussed on Mario Kart 8 live stream before, which Max joined in talking about. Mary, my friend, is Australian. Good. So the way that I've always let me explain. Okay, let me kind of explain something. We'll do stereotypical. They're somewhat stereotypical. Stop chatting me up. It's weird. I'm English. Well, no wonder I've wandered into this. Well, I'm Australian and Viddy's English. I'm English, and well, no wonder I've wandered into this. People in Eternal say American English. Never heard of it. He's a Baron, actually. He isn't, though. In the story, he has a kid. He actually has two. He has a grown daughter, and he has a brand new daughter. That's the story. The game is 10 years old at this point. I don't guess it would be spoilers. Witcher 4 is coming out in 2 years. Man, I'm excited about that game. But anyway, the way that I've always described... So I don't have an inner monologue in my head. I don't have a lot of noises. Everything's kind of visual. So I have to have a visual when I say it out loud for me to kind of convey it. Like playing the guitar, my fingers don't make sounds, they make shapes. And those shapes, in my mind, then I can do on the actual fretboard, and then that's what makes the sounds out loud. Same thing with the piano for me. I play many instruments. I enjoy it. This is a part of that. With the Australian accent, the way that I usually say it is a rubber band. There are letters that get stretched, and there are letters that get contracted that are in a very fluid movement for me. Like the word rubber band. For me, it's a very even kill. Rubber band. You hear every letter. R-U-B-B-E-R. Rubber band. But in an Australian accent or something lighter, you might hear something that's a little bit more like rubber band, longer A sound, right? And it's that kind of stretchiness, that elasticity, which is very pleasant. Again, most accents that are not neutral, including American accents that are not neutral, Southern American accents, specifically Southern twangs, all have a melody to them when spoken aloud that I only can usually relegate to an image in my head. So that's kind of where I am. So the Australian accent is a rubber band. It's the same reason we would call Irish a lilt. An Irish accent might have an Irish lilt. So there are different... for me, the difference, the image for that is the stretching of a single string, effectively, into a straight line, and then that line being gently plucked in a loose vibration. So there's no sound affiliated with that, it's just the image. Right after the Baron was mentioned in Retro Stream, he started banning. No. To be honest, Australians are just English criminals, so I see the similarities. The similarities of what? I mean, technically, Americans are the same thing. They would have been English criminals. They succeeded in their getaway. I like being English, but I can't stand England. That's fair. Retro's been playing too much Mario Kart. Yeah, no, the rubber banding on that can be a little intense, specifically in the higher CCs. I agree with you there. I have been playing Mario Kart World, though. It is fun. I haven't played a lot of it. I haven't had a lot of time. But what I have played of it is a lot of fun. Then again, maybe Retro was referring to music. I've seen I've seen a rubber band. I've seen a peanut stand. I've even seen a needle wink its eye. Those are the lyrics to a song in Dumbo, the original Dumbo. Do you guys know Alucard spells rubber band? A single word rubber band, too. Yeah, that's what I was going. Lilt is a drink over here? Really? That's interesting. What is there what is there an absence of the band where there is an absence in the band? Paraphrasing from House. Yes, yes. The Alucard is signed, so it's just. Lilt is like Sprite. Really? That's interesting. Wait, there's a lemonade in Australia called Lift, but Lilt, I don't remember that. We do have Sprite though. I realize I also need to buy more rubber bands. Least of all for a bag of pasta. I do too, but it's because I found my Gwent decks and I want to put a rubber band around them because they don't have boxes. They didn't make boxes for them. I need to move over. We've been talking for almost 2 hours. I'm having a lot of fun talking with you guys about it. But we have Sprite. Lilt, as far as I know, we don't have. That was Fiona. Let's see here. Turn that down a little bit. Do you use paper clips on things that aren't paper? I have. I don't usually, no. I like Australian drink. Kangaroody Duty sugar free. What a heck of a name that is. I have used paper clips on things that aren't paper in the past, but not usually. The things that I've used paper clips on before are mostly like things that I'm trying to conduct current to. I've used it before. So I don't know. Maybe that's the majority of what I've used them for that aren't paper. But I mean, obviously you could use them for other things that are not paper and it would work just as well. I guess, arguably. Fine, he actually streams games. He does what now? That boy ain't right. New King of the Hill stuff, and they said it's coming out in August. I think that'll be fun too. I've been, again, fan of King of the Hill since just about when it came out. So, you gonna play the game? You gonna talk all day? Yeah, we did have somebody stop in that kind of shared that sentiment last time, didn't we? He wasn't awful, but he was just a little bit. He definitely wanted to get the game. Let me check. Hold on. Let me check map. See what we're doing here. We are. Oh, we're going to the Mantis. Yeah, we're changing planets. Let's go out the back door then. Okay. That's my secret door. Why is the back door not opening? There it is. I don't know why that didn't open last time. Because the Mantis is right here. That's why. On paper, this is a Star Wars game. Well, also in practice, but yes. What do you mean? What do you mean I can watch no commentary gameplay easily? I'd rather complain. No commentary gameplay is, for me, is fun to watch with some games, but it's a very specific, or not watch, but listen to. But it has to be like, for me, it has to be like a retro game where I'm really going to enjoy the heck out of the music and stuff. This game's got story, and I would rather play it than watch it, right? Whereas with like Donkey Kong Country 3, I don't mind, because I don't mind just listening to the music or, seeing somebody use an interesting technique or something like that. So let's see what Bode has to say. What is he doing?
So who's this seer we're going to see? A mentor of mine. Rescued me from the Empire on Braca and dragged me halfway across the galaxy.
Why is this guy so mean? Wait a second. Ash, I will make your ice cream room temperature and put it back in the freezer so the consistency is off. What a threat that is. If you don't knock it, it's like the guy that's like, I cast itchy bones, it's that kind of level of threat, right? I will mix your creamy and crunchy peanut butter. That'd actually be okay with me because I'm a fan of the extra crunchy, so all that you would do is turn mine into crunchy.
We headed to the city?
Regular crunchy.
Last I heard, Seer was holed up in the desert with some weird hermit called Angel.
Philosophers past and present bananas.
Just wish he'd pick up
Pythagoras comes in and is like, yep, done.
that Seer.
He was mostly a mathematician, though, to be fair.
Let me put it up on the holo projector.
They're probably fine. I got dropped your mount into the great unknown. Wait, what? What happened? I did not drop, so I don't... I guess there was a glitch or something where maybe the little chocobo thing that I was riding was dropped off of the ship or something, but I wasn't even on the mount. So I don't know what happened, but whatever happened.
Estes, it is an honor.
Yeah. Hi. Is Seer there?
We eagerly await your arrival. However, a dust storm is sweeping over our location. It is too dangerous for your ship to land.
How will I get to you?
Master Junda has arranged for an escort who will guide you to us.
Wait, she's sending someone else?
I will transmit the rendezvous coordinates to your pilot.
Okay, I got it.
Disembark with caution. Imperial patrols have been seen and...
It's a very overly ornate helmet. Okay, thank you. Poor Chocobo. I have no idea why. Ban the puns. Ban the game glitches.
I think you made the creeps.
I'll fling these rubber bands right off. I mean, maybe. I don't think that's what he said, but maybe.
I was hoping for.
Dang rubber bands existed in 1812? Are you saying dang to the rubber bands that existed in 1812? Or are you saying rubber bands didn't exist in 1812? Because I think you're right. I think rubber bands didn't exist until the, like, 1840s or something like that. 1845, maybe? Okay. Have I ever visited 1812? When you time travel so much, it can be easy to forget. Also, I love the fact that he said that in 1812, because I think rubber bands didn't exist until, like, again, I think it's the 1840s, but it's funny that you said that because we know for a fact that neither Churchill or Hitler existed in 1812. Okay.
Be careful out there. No pointless heroics,
Oh,
yeah?
1 second.
Grace, have you been telling stories about me?
I got plenty of things to talk about besides you, kid.
We'll talk soon.
Shouldn't you be heading out, Cal?
Just wanted to make sure you're all right.
What, do you think I'm not all right?
Your hands were shaking on landing.
You were watching my hands during landing? That's creepy.
Sorry about that. His mic is on strike. No, I was. I was saying just. I may have said it quietly, but I was saying just a second. I got a phone call, so I was like, all right, and it wasn't going to be a long one, but it was like, let's see. Let me send this. I think that's it. Cool. Got that situated. Sorry about that. Is in all such planet his jaw dropped? No, I did want to come over here to see the scenic because it looks this little formation of the rock looks very much like the Jabba Palace on Tatooine. While I was talking on the thing, as my say hello in Spanish. What for? Hola? But why? He has 2,846 microphones and none of them work. No, I do have a lot of microphones. They do all work though. His mic is like, that's it, Retro. I have picked up on your so-called sound, and I don't get paid for this. I'm leaving. I thought it was over. Streamer seems to prioritize his real life over us. A bit weird. Mind, how does the mic dialogue stop like that? Did you actually press mute, or were you saying something personal we shouldn't hear? No, I have a mute button. So that's what I'm saying. All of the this is really cool. I have a lot of microphones. I do.
Stay with you? Because my trigger fingers ain't as fast as they used to be. That's why.
So, I'm like your bodyguard.
Hold on one second.
Bodyguards get paid.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, I have a mute button. So all of my I use a Neumann TLM 103 microphone hooked into a PEAVEY, and then PV20, the letter P and the letter V, and then 20. And so all of my stuff is on a different channel. So like my music is on one channel, my voice is on another channel, my game audio is on another channel. And so I have mute buttons for all of those individually. So if I want to play and I still want you to hear the game, or if I have music and I want you to hear the music but not what I'm saying, because I need to talk to somebody about something, then I can mute any of those individual channels really quickly. And so things that you don't know is there have been times where I have hit the button and sneezed and you just didn't hear it. Whoa. Gonna slide down. Okay. I wasn't paying attention. Need to fix that real quick. Did I miss one of them? Hold on. There we go. Just show us lightsabers. Know her. I hardly know her. Well, that would that puts a kink in that, doesn't it? He was talking bad about us when his mic. No, I just had a phone call. Anna called me, and so I was just taking the phone call from her. But yeah, so I have a pretty. It's a pretty good little. Honestly, it's a pretty good little setup. If I'm to be completely honest, I quite like the way the setup I have. Good microphone. Yeah, solid microphone, solid cables, solid interface, and
all right, let's look.
And then I have a bunch of knots. Chad, it's so over. Retro's every thought and dialogue are on these streams for the world to witness. You can. Not every thought, though. And I never heard of it. Yeah. Last night I watched an episode of House where patients' every thought, especially rude ones, were verbalized. Yep, another case of... interesting. Yeah, not my every thought. Not my every this or that, thankfully.
Time to climb. Hang on, BD.
Oh, shoot. It's Jover. Goodness. Okay, several of those rocks just phased right through me. Yeah, when I was doing my, when I decided to very first try to start setting up the stream, it was very important to me that audio be the very first thing I got right. And of course, I did not at all the very first several streams, and you'll hear a lot of inconsistencies on my recorded videos. You hear a lot of inconsistencies about my audio in those because I didn't know.
Let's check it out.
I didn't know anything about audio at that time, so now I have a decent amount of understanding, and my audio is a little bit more consistent. And again, I was using different microphones that I didn't know much about. I used Sterling Audio microphones, which were really good, by the way. Actually, you know, I don't have enough points yet. I used oh, jeez. 4 wives, BRB, and all of them are your mother. Wow. That's pretty great.
Who cares? Run for your life unless you want to die on this rock.
Oh, it's the sandworm. By the way,
Fan, buddy. Don't want to end up a snack.
sandworm is a very common theme of, obviously, Dune, right? Arrakis, but it's also a very common theme of Star Wars. If you remember when we were playing Jedi Outcast, we actually had a sandworm in the Bakura mission. There's something down there worth being picked up, I think. Hold on. So you have a limited amount of time to... You can see where it is. You have a limited amount of time to avoid the worm. But yeah, when I was very first starting, audio was, I think, the most important thing. I wanted to make sure the audio sounded nice and full and all this other stuff. It didn't. I could not get it to sound really good. But when I finally settled on this, I thought, well, this isn't too bad. And so far it's been really good. And okay, so he still grabs you even if you're on the cement part of this. Except for that that's only if he realizes it. Okay, and he can also, you can't outrun him. Alright, fine. Just trying to figure out what the heck I needed to do. Also, it spawns you on places that he's just going to come and get you anyway. Okay, so there's... I need to run... Do a lot of that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I did that. I was on like Blue Spark SLs for a time. That was interesting. It was fine, but it was interesting. Those are very physically, like, the actual physical microphone is very pretty. They're like a dark burgundy with like a brass gold looking kind of filter to them. Very, very pretty looking microphones. They are not as high quality or as expensive as this microphone, but sound really good. Anybody wanting to get into XLR mics, that's probably one of my very favorite, especially if you're going to be on camera, probably one of my very favorites. It's just got such a beautiful, they're just so beautiful physically, and then on top of that they sound great. So what'd I miss? It's sandworm, is that what you call it? Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's just literally what it is. Any suggestions for what for what this video's symptoms lead to? I don't have enough knowledge to give any sort of actual diagnosis, even a mock one. I love this unique and definitely not Dune worm. Well, Star Wars is older than Dune. Isn't it? Or was the... Because the original Dune books didn't come out until the 80s, didn't they? Okay, where am I supposed to go? No, that's probably not true, because I think the first movie came out, but I think you're right. I think the first book came out in 65. So that is true, because then, yeah, Star Wars would have been 12 years later. Let's go this way. We'll try it. I've already gotten eaten enough. I have a 40-pound microphone. Get ready for my... Well, I mean, you don't... And that's the other thing. You don't have to have an super expensive microphone.
We're safe here. We should be.
You just... There is, like...
Get him. We are dead.
Oh, shoot.
Him. Kill him. It's okay.
I need to get... Here, I need this guy. I put him on the sand. There we go. But is it older than Doom? Yeah. Well, Doom didn't come out until what, 93? So yeah. Dune is, I think the book came out in 65, so that is true. And then Star Wars came out in 77, so. Yeah, you don't have to have an expensive microphone. I was to that point. I was just gonna say you you can get away with like the Blue Spark SL. I think is $199 or $100. It's $150 to $199, and it's beautiful. It sounds great. It looks really. I mean, just it's nice. I'd argue that's pretty well all most people need. I got mine again dealing with trades and pawn shops and stuff like that, because this mic that I use now is goes for $1,100 is what it costs, and I was able to make some trades and stuff, so I didn't have to spend that much money on it. I mean, I'd still spent money on it, but I didn't spend $1,100. I'll just put it that way. There's no reason to. A lot of these, I've been thinking about moving to an AKGC. Oh, dang it! I have been thinking about moving to an AKGC 414 XL2 though, which is about $1,100 also. So if I find one of those in the wild, you could say it's eternal. Nice. It's been around since the Dark Ages. Well done. Retro deliberately missed out on my house fan fiction because he cannot do an impression of Hugh Laurie. No, I can't do it. I didn't intentionally miss out on it. I just can't. I definitely can't do an impression of Hugh Laurie. I like his voice's house a lot. I haven't made fun of any of your microphones. Have you tried getting a macrophone? Or a vibraphone? Yeah. Vibraphone won't do the same thing, but... Hold on. Wrong button. Okay, so where I need to go is... I'm going in generally the correct direction. It's to my left-ish. And I see over there is either a data disk or a priorite shard. Let's try for it.
Looks like a scroll.
Oh, it's a I forgot the scrolls. Okay, so where I need to be is over there. Retro phone home. Maybe an aquaphone? Do an impression. I cannot do an impression of you. I wish that I could do a good impression. I have tried, but you have, in addition to having he grabs you right out of thin air, doesn't he? In addition to you having a melody of your voice that I can't quite match, you also have your voice is a lot softer than I can manage. It's not a whisper, but it's a softer voice than mine is. So I'm like, I'm doing an impression of you. It's not going to be good. It'll be real bad. It'll be real terrible. This feels like this should be shaky. I definitely can't do an impression of you. You have a... I just say, it would be the same. Like if I asked you if you would do an impression of me, it'd be like, it's very difficult. Es difícil. Okay, so... Let's go ahead and open that up, and I guess we'll have to go around. wait, hold on. They say when in Rome do as the Romans do, but how do we know exactly what the Romans do to gain an example? Is human nature as simple as imitation? Can people do impressions of other entire lives? Yes, yeah. As a matter of fact, the amount of people who have lived a similar life in a different time are probably scary in how numerous they are. I'm gonna let the flame guys go at this guy for a bit. Because it's a win-win. Either I don't have to deal with him or I don't have to deal with them, and they're both really frustrating. No. Go get him. There you go. Face the more imminent threat there. Okay, cool. Best possible time for me to do that is during his unblockable. That worked out very well. Much better than I thought it would. Much more cleanly than I thought it would. A stroke of genius. Well done. Retro's real name is Marvin, I think. It is not. It is not at all. Marvin is not a name. No shame to anybody named Marvin, but it's not a name that rolls. Well, you don't use the tongue at all for it, right? So I was going to say it doesn't roll off the tongue very well, for me, at least to me, but it doesn't use the tongue at all.
Maybe someone at Sears base would know what to make of this.
So, let's see. Retro is going to get out the lightsaber again. Oh no. I'm so depressed. Marvin, get off the chat. If you're depressed, simply don't. It's interesting also that you make mention of, you say Max, and then you say Romans. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't, well... Didn't the name Max originate in Rome? Isn't Max it's not, I was going to say Greco-Roman, but I don't necessarily know if it's Greco. I don't know if there's any, I don't know if it's Greek at all. But I do know that there were people in Rome named Max. Although today Max is usually short for Maximilian, whereas back then it would have been more likely short for Maximus. It does kind of use the tongue for the N sound. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit it does. It's a giant hand. So I need to figure out, there's a flag there. If you're depressed, why don't you try being happy? That's not how that works. Towel Day was weeks ago? What are you talking? What is Towel Day? Ignorance is bliss. That's true. I do need to heal. Let's do that.
I need a stem.
The power of friendship. I need to figure out how... Okay, hold on. Let's do this. Is this all completely slippery? Yeah, it is. Are there walls that I can run here? No, there are not. Okay. So I have... It is just that slippery gap that I cannot go back up. Okay. The one thing that I think is the most challenging on this, in truth, is the pathing. I do think that's probably the trickiest thing about this game for me. And it's not terrible, I suppose, but it's just, I mean, you can see where this would be. Okay, see? We can see where this is. You can kind of see where this is, you're like, well, wait a minute, I wouldn't have seen that unless you...
Bob, gotta respect that.
Okay, now we drop... That's not what I meant. I was supposed to drop down to that other area. Towel Day is a Hitchhiker's Guide celebration, which is, I believe, the writer Douglas Adams' birthday. Oh, okay. Hitchhiker's Guide is a holy... I've read it, but I didn't even remember. Wasn't even thinking about that. That's a good point. That's pretty good. I like that you're trying to give it like trinomial nomenclature. The name Ash. It's not just a name, it's a species at this point with trinomial nomenclature. So the idea is I need to be able to drop here and then here, to which then I can go like that. And then maybe he knocks the pillar over, maybe he doesn't. I guess not. Okay. These beetles aren't as bad as the chickens. I don't like them, but they're not as bad as the chickens. I like real-life beetles. These ones I'm not a fan of. Both the band and the insect. But not these guys. Also, I don't understand why... That's the other thing, is a lot of... there's a lot of, like, if a thing like that was bigger, would it automatically be hostile? I don't think so. Crabs usually leave people alone, and they can get pretty big. Horseshoe crabs, most specifically, they got that big spike on them, but spike's not harmful.
I'm looking.
And they get to be really big, so it's like, if things are that big, does that automatically mean they're going to start attacking? Probably not. Sometimes, yeah, maybe, but... Be careful of Vogons reading poetry to you. I seem to remember Vogon poetry, roughly, obviously, because I think it was mostly, like... more it was
know what to make of this.
I believe it was more sound.
We should reevaluate our setup.
Okay. I think it was more like crinkly bingle wordies kind of thing. Like it was more like a there we go. It was more like a series of sounds that were fairly pleasant to make with the mouth than actually being anything important. Okay, I didn't realize I had ruptured his pack. That worked out well. That game is a fun game, by the way. That was good though. Detroit Become Human is I like that, and that game is becoming more and more relevant as time passes. As crazy as that is. You couldn't see me even if I did. Ringo's easily one of the drummers of all time. Yeah, that's true. Where Ringo's a good drummer. Ringo's not the worst drummer, but I mean, if you're putting him, like, you can't put him on, like, Neil Peart, Phil Collins, you know, you're not gonna put him on those guys' levels. Tommy Lee. You can't, I don't think you, I mean, you could, I don't think you should. I don't think you should put him on that level, but yeah. Penitent Chambers, and we now have 2 points. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and rest. All my enemies will respawn, but I get my thing back, and then I'm gonna go back to this. Gonna have toast from Talkie Toaster. I'm gonna go to survival, and I think the power of friendship is the one I need next. What do I have here? Okay, so these are just my block meter. Yeah, power of friendship. So we're gonna go ahead and get that. Okay, so now some of my force meter gets refilled, so then the next thing we have focus sight is 2 points, and greater reflexes is 1, which I'll probably get greater reflexes next. Again, the reason you're not seeing me put a lot of points into Saber yet is because the Saber style that I need to use, I don't have yet. I'll tell you right now, it's the next, not this one, but the next stone to the right there. Tommy Lee has 3 legs. I was quoting Holly from Red Dwarf. Don't ask me to have opinions on drumming. Oh, I mean, you don't have to. It's fine. As far as drummers go, I mean, I just named a couple of drummers I really like. That's all. Phil Collins is a favorite of mine. I mean, Phil Collins is just a phenomenal singer, but I think a lot of people forget how fantastic a drummer he is also. Sugarfoot. Sugarfoot was a really good... Was it Ray Sugarfoot Leonard's really, really good? No, it's not Leonard. It's, what's his last name? What the heck? I like that this, you got this, real quick.
Here we go.
I see movement below us.
Hold on. No, who am I thinking? I'm thinking of Sugarfoot. I'm thinking of, who am I? I'm not thinking, that's Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm thinking of, Jonathan Moffat. Sugarfoot, yeah. I was thinking of Sugar Ray Leonard at the same time I was thinking, but no, I'm thinking drummers. Jonathan Moffat's who I'm thinking of. Gosh dang it, I sliced the grenade right out of thin air. Sugar Ray Leonard is not a drummer, by the way. He's a fighter.
Don't break your cock, though. Reinforcements are on the way. Stand your ground.
What's really cool is we're seeing we're kind of seeing Stormtrooper Clone Trooper armor in some cases, which actually does kind of happen in that. And look who we have. We got Marin. Again, I like Marin. I think she's great. She's really cool in the games. Battle Scars book, still don't recommend it. It really doesn't do her any justice. It sounds dangerous to me being diabetic. I think it's a matter of how sweet his double kick is, or his heel toe kick is.
Surprised to see me.
I thought they'd send someone a bit more, unfamiliar.
I would not be so quick to judge, Cal Kestis. Much has changed since we last saw each other.
I can see that.
Come, my speeder is this way.
Your land speeder? Stormtroopers found it.
Then we will take care of them.
And it looks like they found us too.
Okay, 1 second. I gotta adjust. We're creating musical fusion. What an... Let's try this. I had to move it again, so I'm not sitting directly on my tailbone. The Star Wars game doesn't have drums, from what I can tell. It does. Maybe this song doesn't. John Bonham, more like John Jafari. Good old John Jafari is hilarious. I know it. I like JonTron. There we go. Oh wait, he died. Here. I'll just slice him up. Uh-oh. There. That should... Oh. Okay, I threw the shield directly into it. Have you seen School of Rock? I don't think I've seen School of Rock all the way through. No. I know of it. I mean, I know... I like Jack Black and everything. And that's all good. Oh, it's a KX unit. I like that the other one's just standing around. That's good. Uh-oh. I say as he stops standing around. Let's do this so I can get several hits in early. K units are really slow even in slow motion, so... I really like John's stuff. JonTron has it figured out. Guy is rich, releases a video once every... Yeah, I agree with that. He's funny, though. I mean, he's... They did the... So, I mean, this was the thing. He... Do they have any, like, secrets in here or anything? No. I've been a fan of his since... well, I guess since he really kind of started doing YouTube. It was, like... 2011 or 2012 or whatever. Anyway, he did like a Castlevania. The thing that caught my eye was he had done like a
Ascension cable. See anything I can latch
Castlevania Legacy of Darkness review, which was kind of cool.
How's this?
And But then, 15 or whatever rolled around, he had that debate. Everybody thought that he's not a good debater. At least in that one, he wasn't. And then everybody was like, oh, we can't laugh at his humor anymore because, and then he puts out a video saying, well, what I actually meant was this, and it was like, all right, whatever. It's just, he's a comedian. I didn't watch you for your politics in the first place. And then you put a video out saying, I'm not a good debater, and I sounded like a jerk, and so, okay, whatever. You're funny. I don't care. I'm not here for your politics, man. At the end of the day, whether we vote different or we vote the same, it's going to be one vote. Whoa, wait a minute. Dialogue from the film, see. So, reference Whiplash. Didn't the drummer die from that film? Did he die from that film? Oh, so I'm guessing the drummer of that film died. He died young. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. It's also similar nowadays. Yeah, it is. Old YouTube had more personalized, customizable channel layouts. Like we all are, yeah. Depends on what kind of YouTube content you enjoy. I just think everyone has turned their hobbies into content. Not all this. Well, I mean, a lot of it you get not here for politics, not here for his politics, right? I mean, I'm not saying we can't discuss politics. Obviously, we can, but it's like I didn't watch JonTron because of his politics. I watched him because I thought it was fun. I think a lot of people, for me, the similar. How do I want to say this? I think I need to figure out where this goes. I think the similar aspect. That's what I want. Oh, come on. The similar aspect of the content is everybody kind of has the same setup. It's me on screen with the microphone in front of the camera, whatever. Or it's me in the bottom right hand corner going, how do I do this, guys? How do I, come help me, chat. That's not me. I want to come here and I want to talk with people, and I like playing video games, and that's it. Is my layout unique? Probably not. If it was at one point in time, probably still not anymore. But I still, I still enjoy it. And I don't put it out there for the sake of just content either. Like, I don't, that's not the objective is, I want to make a content. I enjoy doing this. It's a good way for me to get to talk with people. Where does she want me to put this block? Right there? Maybe? Yeah. It looks like that's where that's going to fit. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Did you know Trump made his own Twitter clone? I did not know that. And sometimes I've heard the phrase, all art is political, and then I read and watched The Adventures of the Spot by Eric Hill and realized, well, not all. Yeah, well, that's the thing is, not everything has to be political. I think there are a lot of people today that are saying either everything is political or it needs to be political. Because politics are so important, they need to pervade literally every part of your life. And it's like, no, that's not how things work. That's like saying work is important. Therefore, there's no time where you should ever drop it in favor of having fun. No, politics are important, but they're not all-consumingly so. Have fun. Not everything's important. I painted a picture. I showed this off. I painted a picture the other day. It wasn't political. It was just a field It was just a field that I liked the look of, and I put some fictitious creatures in it.
That's a first.
Oh, Truth Social. Yeah, I did know about that. I don't know. I haven't been on it. I never saw a reason to look at it. That was dumb. I was gonna dodge it, but we got stuck in slow motion. I'm gonna make this hurt. Here. You are annoying. Thank you, Marin. Yeah, I did see that. I saw that there is Truth Social. I don't know.
They will pay for this.
I've not been on it. I'm not gonna pay attention to it. I don't care.
Unlike my speeder. Even if the storm subsided, Sear is too far to reach on foot. What are you thinking?
That makes sense.
Might be able to hitch a ride.
They all end up being echo chambers for whatever side that... Yeah, that's exactly right. I thought it was hilarious when I first heard of it. It's just... What is the point?
You haven't learned to fly yet, have you?
Afraid not.
Then we must find another way across.
There. See it?
I do.
What's the point of social media in general? Did not mean to do that, but it worked. Dang it. Where am I supposed to... Am I supposed to jump off into the side again? What's up? Yes, that is the answer.
You haven't lost your edge. BD seems a step slow.
Yeah, you haven't lost your edge. Meanwhile, you fell off into the chasm twice. Okay, I see something over there, and I see over here. I think, this being the least obvious, I should try. I just want to see if I can get that, because that feels like like a secret. Is there a run wall there? No? Maybe? I can't get close enough. Okay. And there's not a wall that I can run into over there, and I can't tell her to do that, can I? No? Let me try. Yeah, there's no run wall there. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to... I'm this like the secrets thing. Like, I like to find all the secrets, but I can't reach that, so... Should start a YouTube channel with where he makes a 2-hour video on the Sega Saturn. I don't know if he knows what that is. Why did he partially quote MGS2? Truly, are they important? Or are they just... It's, yeah. Well, if it weren't for social media, we wouldn't be talking to each other right now. And then again, social media is not so much important as... Well, we wouldn't be talking to each other. That's definitely true, right? But to say that there is a positive consequence to a negative, to something that didn't really have, I think, a great intent is... Because I think I don't necessarily know if...
You're not stuck, are you?
No, I got startled. I don't necessarily know if that's the I don't know what the point of it was, right? I understand what the benefit of it is now, but I don't know exactly what the point of it was supposed to be.
Trying to kill me?
Sorry, I thought...
It's all right, Cal. Stand by. I will fix this.
What are you doing?
Restoring the pattern you threw into chaos.
Chaos is just a pattern we've yet to understand the order of.
That looked exhausting. You need a break?
The storm is coming. I will rest when we arrive at Seared Base.
Where did you learn that?
Dathomir.
You went home?
Yes. My sisters are gone, but their wisdom remains.
There we go. Build the wall. More ban me recurring gags. Build a wall on Tatooine. There are plenty of those. Matter of fact, there are little posts out there, and if you go outside of them, you probably get shot down by a Tusken Raider. We showed that on KOTOR, actually. You can't go past them, but we actually showed where they were. If you are interested in seeing that, take a look at the KOTOR playthrough. I did do one. It's 10 episodes long.
Getting closer.
You do not have to. I'm not... I want to be very clear. I am not a call to action guy. I'm not hit that button, da-da-da. What I'm recommending is if you have an interest in the game that I mentioned, or if it's relevant to the conversation, you can take a look at it. That's all. I don't care if the whole like, comment, and subscribe thing happens.
My door.
It's not why I do this. What the heck? Okay. All right, we're gonna go get our little long-legged friends here in a minute. I kill. Always kill the ones with the orange shoulder, orange pauldrons, because they are captains. They are harder to kill. Perfect.
heavy gunners are down.
I guess they got Cortosis shields. Did I get that other guy? I did. Okay, cool. I see another secret down there, but I already know I'm probably gonna jump and die.
Marin, you got it?
Of course.
Strikes me as someone who really wants to be loved by everyone. Yeah, that's fair. He broke up. Yeah, I heard about that. It's for the best, I guess.
I need help.
We don't need a whole bunch of multi-billionaires telling people what's in their best interest when the average person isn't a multi-billionaire. I mean, I know that could be... Whoa! I'm gonna knock him over. I know that may be contentious, but we don't need multi-billionaire people telling people that don't make multiple billions of dollars how they need to live and whether or not they deserve tax cuts and this and that and the other. We also don't need people that are multi-billionaires getting tax cuts before people that are not. I know that billionaires pay a lot more in taxes, by the way, than the average person because they have that much more money to spend. I get that. That having been said, that would be, I think, the exact reason is why we could say that tax cuts are probably not the best idea. They have the money to spare, so why should then we not... There's the echo down there. So then why should we, cut a ton of brakes on that? We don't have to make it more expensive for them either, but it's probably not a good idea to make it cheaper.
Where did she come from?
Is that what I did? Yeah, I did. But being loved by everyone, not a remarkably useful trait. I'm sorry. It really isn't. Being loved by everybody if you're not effective. Let me make that. If you could find a person that was loved by everyone and good and effective, that'd be great. But that's almost as impossible to find as someone who is
Desert ghost, huh?
Haunting and
loved by everybody in any which way. Okay. Where's that echo? Gosh, dang it.
It must have taken lifetimes to build this place. Now the people who built it are gone.
I came across the remnants of many civilizations during my travels. All things decay, Cal Kestis.
Not everything.
There we go. Narcissism 101. It could be. Narcissism is also heavily in favor of discard, though, so being loved by everybody could be a thing, but it's also someone willing to be cavalier to the way that you feel about them because you don't love them. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's narcissism. I mean, it definitely could be. I'm not going to lie and say that. I know definitively it isn't, but it equally could be... just genuine placation or desire for placation.
I don't, but Seer might. BD, does he look like Cal?
I see. I still can't get over the fact that Lyndon McMahon didn't know what AI was. She read it as A1. Yeah, that's a steak sauce. Which, by the way, if your steak needs sauce, you've overcooked it, in my opinion. Here, let me just... clear the temple. Those two are gone. Okay. Yeah, if your steak needs sauce, you've overcooked it, in my opinion. Medium rare should. I think. I'm giving an opinion. Obviously, eat it whatever way you want. I think medium rare is probably the most cooked a steak should ever be. I prefer mine blue, but whatever. Well, not just that, but someone's saying that there's absolutely nothing wrong with me at all. Maybe. Bothers me when he gets involved in the games industry conversation. Yeah, that's fair. Well, if there's A1, then there's more numbers between that and A24. Oh, wait, that's a film distribution. Never mind. He wants to make AI video game, an AI game studio. We don't want that. He got carried in Path of Exile 2 and hilariously exposed, and people saw he had no idea how to play. Yeah, you don't... Like, that's the thing is... if you don't know how to play, then don't... Like, you guys see my level of gaming skill, right? There are some games you've watched me play that you're like, hey, he's pretty good. And then there are games like, again, Mortal Kombat, you've watched me play and it's like, he's not very good at all. I'm not a perfect gamer. I just enjoy playing games. I'll play whatever I feel like playing to whatever extent I can. And if somebody looks and is like, "Oh, that guy's an amateur," I'll be like, "Yeah, that
Comes in
part."
handy.
If that was a joke, I hope you fall.
Part of playing games is not having to be perfect at them. Okay. I was gonna say, I knew there was one more, but she got him before he dropped the grenade. Very nice, Marin. Marin's cool. Dean Takahashi's not quite as bad, but still pretty bad. Let's see. Exposed almost like the Cuphead tutorial incident. I didn't see that. I have to take a look at that. Dean Takahashi's been in the games industry for decades and couldn't jump for the next portion of a tutorial. That's crazy. He acted like he got everything on his account himself. Also, a bit like Metroid Dread discussion. I cannot remember who it was. Finding hidden blocks. David Jaff or Jaffe. Okay. Like Jaff. I'm going to say Jaffe. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but I'm going to say Jaffe has some weird defiance mechanisms with that Dread discussion. We come to do this no-death 100% completion speedrun retro. We expect nothing else. He chooses the weirdest and most non-consequential things to lie about. I wind you up about Mortal Kombat anyway, taking jabs at someone for their skill in video games. Oh, yeah, no, and that's perfectly fine, too. It's like, yeah. So, Gib84, I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been doing? It is a fun game. I hope you've been doing famously. I hope you've been doing very well. Yeah, this is a super fun game. Again, same thing as my before. I just like to come and play games and have fun. No need to be good at them. Just trying it and having fun with it. Okay, so that shortcut's going to lead me back down there. So it looks like it's going to be the wall run. And it looked like down. Yep. There we go. They made the map a lot easier to read on this one. It still is a little confusing for me sometimes, but... Uh-oh, it's the... Yep.
Agreed.
Okay. You can actually use the... Oh, well, that was a Mortal Kombat-esque finisher, wasn't it?
That's your best?
I'm not the enemy.
You're fine.
Okay, I'm gonna... Oh, what in the world? That wasn't good. Now I've got to go. That's a little bit of progress lost. Oh well. That's a lot of progress maybe lost. Oh well.
Careful, there's danger nearby.
I probably have that one of the shortcuts unlocked, though, so I can probably or one of the shortcuts probably will make short work of that. So I don't need to go there. I have the. Do I still have the box, or do I have to grab the box again? No, it's already there. 42 pieces of toast. Yeah, man, I just have fun. I just finished Bloodstained. Oh, very nice. Yeah, Bloodstained is great. That is really good. Good call. Good game. Have you played the DL? It's not as good in my opinion, but did you play the did you get the DLC pack for it? I think I don't know if it's on sale currently, but I think it goes on sale fairly regularly for just a few bucks. And then if you're I guess you said Bloodstained, I'm assuming Ritual of the Night, but if you haven't played the Curse of the Moons, I think you might also really like those. Of course, I'm assuming you probably have, but man, super good games. Super fun. Galaxy far away. A long time ago. But okay, this is where we found her speeder. So luckily we're not having to run into all of the the guys we ran into before. That's good. The Dominique DLC? I have it, but I've not tried it yet. Okay, fair enough. My understanding is people see, like, I thought it was pretty fun. I think people generally didn't like it quite as much, but it was cool. And I also thought it was really cool. The Koji Igarashi boss self-insert was really a cool idea. I did get the Iga backpack and all that stuff. I thought that was really fun. I'd like to hang out in VC again. Viddy's last time was great. Nice. Let's see. Okay, we'll run back and get the Scorpion. Use Space Quest language. The Scorpizoid. Those are. I would love to play those games. I haven't played those in a long time. I love Sierra games. I want to play a Sierra game at some point on here. I was partial. I've always been partial to the King's Quest games, but there was a game that came out that I think everybody kind of overlooks called Conquest of the Longbow, a Robin Hood game basically, and I think it's one of the. Why didn't I save up here?
Let's stop here.
Because I decided to be a doofus, I guess. But it was called Conquest of the Longbow. It's a Robin Hood game. I think it gets overlooked. I think if I play a Sierra game, that would probably be in the running for... oh, this is what I meant. That'd probably be in the running for the one that I would play on the channel. King's Quest V is my favorite. Well, 6 is my favorite story-wise. 5 is my favorite play-wise. And then I would...
So, what do you think of Jedi so far?
Deadly creatures, Imperials.
And then I would play, but I would play Conquest of the Longbow, I think. Hope you've been well. I can't stay. I'm UO in 4 hours for work. Oh, no. Up in 4 hours for work. Yeah, no worries. Hey, I appreciate you for stopping by. It's been a long time, so I just appreciate you for coming by and saying hi. It was so good to hear from you again. So, I know your health has been off, and I'm sorry about that. Metal Jesus always mentioned that he worked for Sierra. Good thing to mention. That was he worked for Sierra in the good days. Dropped the like. Well, thank you very much. So, well, you got a musical person, Mr. Viddy. Okay, so we do have this shortcut. How do I reach that? Oh, I just can. Okay. Okay, so now my save isn't that far away from this. Okay. Cool, that worked out well. All right, now we're saved a lot closer also, so that'll mean that we fight the Scorpion. Yeah, Metal Jesus working. I mean, that you got to consider that's got to be really cool to have worked for Sierra during the heyday. But I think that's the one that, in my opinion, that's the one that gets overlooked the most is Conquest of Longbow. So I'm not going to touch the gold. Okay, let's see if I can get her to help me. Distract. There we go. Once he knocks my health down quite a bit, I'll go ahead and touch this. Okay, I did it right as he hit me, so I took the damage anyway, but that's okay. Okay. Pin him for me again? She can't pin all of them, she can just pin his tail, that's good enough. Okay, cool. That went way, way better than the last time. Skritten, or Skriten. Ooh, this stings. Very nice. Okay.
Help me out?
Must I?
Thanks.
Seer would be disappointed if I left you to die in the desert.
The Spammel.
You really think you can tame one?
Worth a shot.
So these long-legged creatures. very cute faces.
Hello. Get on my back and ride into the sands. I will help you.
Thank you. But I can manage. That's right.
All right. Yeah, I do like Marin. And this is, I think this is a good example of, going into the thing that I think gets overlooked all the time. This is, I think, she's a good example of what I consider to be a female character who's strong, who...
And now we have time to catch up.
Is...
It's been years.
Just playful more than she is, like, aggressively independent.
Amazing. The sinking city of Karatao. The Persaya Cliffs.
Like, when we last left her, she really liked Cal. Whoa!
That's the way back. Any run-ins with the Empire?
Yes. These are dark times.
Hold on.
I helped those I could.
I'm just glad you're all right.
You as well. Wherever I went, you were never far from my thoughts.
Okay,
That's it.
I need to figure out where the heck... Hold on. So we're going about the right way. Let's turn... I need to see if this is... It's not there. It is. It's to the left. There it is. It's up there, I guess.
Okay.
But anyway, like, she's kind of playfully flirtatious. It's not like she's, oh, I'm strong, independent. It's like, I'm gonna tease him. This is a guy that I'm good friends with, that I potentially like. Let me tease him a little bit by teleporting here, or setting back time, or making reference of how much of a mess he made. But it's not overtly like anti him. Like, she's still complimenting him, and it feels like they have a relationship.
All of us going our separate ways.
I understand, Cal. But we had our reasons.
It's not a chocobo. I have to get going. No worries. I appreciate you for being here. It's always a pleasure to get to talk with you.
Easy now.
I probably get going shortly as well. No worries. No worries at all. Again, it's always a pleasure to have you guys here and talking, but please don't overextend your time. If I'm I mean, it's midnight for Ash. I mean, I appreciate you for being here.
Going you faster.
These little guys are fast, by the way.
We have to hurry. Faster. We need to hurry up.
Spammel's scared. It's finding me. Take it easy.
Philosophy is cool. Philosophy, possibly. What is life but the next big adventure? Well, it depends on if you believe in the next. Next incites or implies that there was a previous, and we don't know if there was, right? Could be. Okay, so now we're in the sandstorm.
Baron, can you hear me?
A lot of
I don't see her, BD.
a lot of sand planets we've noticed.
Cal! Can you hear me? This way!
Baron, we're coming. You're all right.
For now.
What now?
We must keep moving. Hurry, Cal.
I like the simple pondering of did you get your photos printed, the simple answers of Bogo's bented, and the simple definition to be twisted in ways. Oh, good lord.
Are you all right?
Fine. You?
Yes. We have to find shelter.
Where'd the Spammel run off to?
It doesn't matter now.
We want him to be safe, though. Yeah, we have a lot of sand planets, though. We've got Tatooine, we've got Jeddah here, and then we have Jakku, of course. A lot of sand planets. Okay, they're still in a sandstorm, right? We know for a fact that their helmets will help them, but...
Know the pattern of the storm. He's there, right there. I'm tracking.
Whoops! Golly, I got too close. A lot of splash damage there, golly. You gotta pay a lot of attention to the... It's really just the laser blasts that you can get, not even those, it's just these. And I wasn't even in the radius that time.
I'm hit.
Marin took the final few hits. The simple answer could be Binted. Wait, could the Binted be Bogos? The other points of view, the revelation of photos printed leads to Bogos Binted that has been. Good lord. There's a lot to that I don't even know if I can get through. I don't even know what that means. Bogo has always meant buy one get one to me. So I'm like, man, I don't even know where we are on this. One person's still being extended to the cosmos, space-time. The question of bent Bogos or not to bent Bogos. With or without toast, of course. Okay, let's see.
Do you hear that?
I do?
It can't be.
The Spammel must have found shelter. This way.
The Spammel saved us.
So we can forgive it for leaving us to die.
Agreed.
It's like he didn't mean to. He's scared too.
Okay. Should be set for the night.
Sit. Tell me what adventures you and BD have had since we last saw each other.
All right. Same as always. Fighting the Empire, helping out where we can.
For anybody who didn't, I haven't played the first one in here, but for anybody who is confused as to who she is a Dathomirian Night Sister. That's why she has all the cool magic powers, and she was our enemy.
I think we might have found something special.
Up until we fought a guy called Terran Malicos who was abusing the learning of the Night Sister's magic. We helped her dispatch of him, basically. Very powerful Sith, by the way. A character I wish they would have brought into this again, because I really liked him. And she became a really, really
Look into the fire.
good friend.
It will warm you. Keep you company. On dark, lonesome nights, yes? But left unchecked, it will consume everything in its path. Until there is only ash. But on a cold night...
So a warning about the dark side.
A warm fire is perfect.
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest and most excellent fancy. How often have I... Yep, lines from my stage acting days stay with you. Oh, absolutely. Stay with me.
Cal,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
in order to see the galaxy on my own terms.
Shakespeare can involve philosophy in a number of ways, and also, he has not tackled the subject of
What'd you find?
he has not tackled this subject in any of his works. If it is one that is able to, nay, deserves to
People
be studied in this manner.
Dathomir will always be my home. It does not need to define me.
I never understood why you left.
This
Sitting here now.
oh yeah, well, I mean, he's the one that talked about even the appropriate way to stage a coup, which was, or the appropriate way to either stage a coup or to survive this or that or the other. So so we have good friend now. She missed us. It was nice. It was nice that she missed us.
You missed a spot.
Morning.
The weather has cleared. Let's go.
And we get to go meet up with Seer, and Seer's going to look different than she did last time also, which, perfectly cool. Seer is also really cool. I can't remember. As many of the philosophical ideas can be applied today in many contexts. Romeo and Juliet is still relevant. Yeah, that's true. Romeo and Juliet, obviously, I mean, having some philosophical, but mostly, I mean, kind of the idea of that one is obviously the romance. It's another stem for me. Heck yeah. 6th stem pack.
Heads up, BD.
We're doing good on the stem packs. That gives us 6. And boom. So we're doing really good on that so far.
Well, we survived our first storm together.
Yes, we did.
I'm glad we got to see each other again. How long are you staying on Jedi?
I don't know.
Okay, I need to jump and jump.
How is he these days?
Not bad. He opened up a cantina. Pyloon Saloon.
You named it after his great grandmother.
Nothing's more
They're
important
gonna-
to race than family.
Yep. I was going to say, when it was talking about, I believe it was Shakespeare who was the one that said, whenever you're basically attempting to, whether it be stage a coup or whether it be create dominance within a basically to get rid to start a dictatorship almost. He was the one that was credited for writing "The first thing is to kill the lawyers," I believe. Okay. Which is still relevant to this day, as one of the very first things you'd want to do is you'd want to get rid of the people who could litigate or who know the law well enough to litigate against you, right? So. Real. The two lovers couldn't be together yet. There are many reasons, even these days, that two people cannot be together. Well, and I think in that case, I mean, obviously, like I said, I think the romance of it is a lot of it. There is something I think to be said, perhaps, about the. If you wanted to look at the philosophy of Romeo and Juliet, at least through the lens of, or through what I see to be the lens of a potential philosophy, it would be that there are always going to be things, let's call them impurities, that are considered necessities by people that will get rid of or that will get in the way of what are intended to be purities that are more primal, like love. So what I mean by that is that people generally might find themselves on opposite sides of the fence. Let's say that two people find each other and they find that they enjoy each other's company, they love each other even, you could say, and then they start to get into deeper topics. Oh, it's Cordova. I had forgotten. I've played this game in a while. Couldn't remember who greeted you at the gate first, but I knew we met him. I just didn't remember him meeting us at the gate first.
Never thought I'd meet you.
It looks a lot like F. Abraham Murray to me.
The honor is mine, Count. Sears told me everything.
But anyway, it's you have two people that get together and they talk about things. They talk about life, love, art, marriage, even at some point in time. And then they start getting into a particular contentious political topic. And that puts them at a cross purpose. What is purer? For them to put the deeply held convictions of the self to the side and experience the purity of the love that they have for each other, or for them to put the love that they have for each other to the side and hold the deeply held singular convictions. Which of those two is the greater good?
Did you find the Zepho?
Only faint traces of their passage, heading deep into the unknown regions.
Sorry to hear that.
As it goes.
It's possible to say a Mario game is actually dressing up as a Mario game and being one with the game.
Let's search.
Hey, you could.
Back to my old apprentice. How have you been faring, Cal?
That doesn't sound good.
I've had a few scrapes, but I'm still breathing.
And I'm glad for it. I heard some news about a Jedi terrorist on Coruscant not long ago.
Yep,
You were on Coruscant?
that's me. Accidentally a terrorist, but always on purpose a Jedi. That's him, not me, though.
Well, the Mantis looks like it's seen better days.
It has definitely seen better days.
Space is well hidden.
Yes, for the Empire's presence.
The greater good moral philosophy. Well, that's the thing. Is what would you do? I'm not talking about objective morality, right? I'm talking about individualistic morality. If you have somebody that you find that you love, and then a potential issue comes up that you find maybe didn't exist before, but you find that potential issue is a big issue, and it happens to divide you from your lover, so to speak. What is it better to do? To pursue the deeply held individual conviction, or to pursue the pure love despite your conviction, right? Is it a will? What are you willing to sacrifice? The love or the conviction? Is it possible to win a Star Wars game by actually dressing up as one of the characters and being one with the game? Probably not. It would be interesting. Cosplay is a thing, I think, but not to mention it's probably not very. I mean, seeing the kind of ridiculous fashions that seem to come out from different, seeing the different various ridiculous fashions that seem to come out from things like the Met Gala and Balenciaga and all that, it's probably not long before we end up wearing robes and actually being more stylish than half of those things. Arguably, I think a lot of the clothing that we see in some of our science fictions, or even some of the clothing we see in some of our fantasies, might be coming back. I hope it does. Honestly, the clothing that people have us wear today, in a lot of cases, is fairly uncomfortable for me, for a bevy of reasons, of course. So, is it possible for a Star Wars character to beat their own game? Arguably, that's what happens every single time you play the game successfully, right?
Not my preferred weather forecast, but more common by the day.
I was talking about a sketch on you. Oh.
Weather the storm.
It was a bad racing game, and it was a joke for, say, a pumpkin character. Just put a pumpkin on your head, and you can win the race. Ah, okay.
A survival instinct, perhaps.
I intercepted some Imperial communications. Your reputation is growing.
Probably.
Was there fear in their voices?
Quite a bit, yes.
Good. How are you feeling?
Better. That tea you brought me was wonderful.
So they're curing things with teas, which is still something we actually do. It's one of the best ways to treat cold, in fact.
Reeves must be in the kitchen. We'll meet up with him later.
Yeah, very good way to handle that is a cold or any other kind of virus, or with T's. Obviously, antiviral medications as they're needed. Antibacterials, you just take antibiotics, right? But antivirals, a good hot tea is almost always better. And there is our friend. And we have this beautiful archive. But has anyone put a pumpkin on their head to win a video game? I don't know. Some people do that to beat the Ender Dragon. That's really interesting. I did not know that.
Welcome to Jedi. I knew the storm wouldn't deter you.
And this is Seer Junda. I think the actress's name is Deborah Wilson, but she has, for whatever reason, I mean, she's really good at what she does. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't know why, but she just recently blew up in popularity. She's been Seer Junda. She's been Amanda Waller in Suicide Squad. She's been just here and there and everywhere. She's fantastic. As a matter of fact, as Amanda Waller, arguably, Amanda Waller is supposed to be a very hefty woman, like a very weighty woman. But arguably, I think her name's Deborah Wilson, does as good of a job instilling that kind of fear in that universe as any larger woman would. So.
And for
very, very cool.
And those who help them.
Why didn't you tell me?
You never asked.
Oh, I thought you were talking about actually putting a pumpkin on your head.
I hear you've been busy.
You put it on your head to not have Endermen attack you? That's funny.
I wanted to prove to the galaxy that the Empire isn't invulnerable. That you can resist. That you have to fight if things are gonna get better. But then they just listen to the propaganda and they pretend they're free anyways.
You chose a hard path.
And it hasn't made a difference.
Well, while the Empire's trained its eyes on you, we've been able to build the network. Find allies. And save lives.
When you left, you'd just given up. I was wrong.
So you could say it's less for the Ender Dragon and more for the Endermen. Oh yeah. I definitely have played Minecraft. I've played my share of Minecraft. As I was saying before, I remember playing Minecraft back when they were just coming out with the thing. Back when they had the beta out, and then they had it finally come to console, and then, like I said, you had to wait a year for creative mode and all that. So like I've played my share of Minecraft for sure. It's interesting that here we are. I guess Minecraft's beta was 09, like I said, so 11 probably for the main line of it.
Well, it's good to see you.
14 years now at this point.
So, how was your time in the desert?
The storm covered our tracks, but the Empire destroyed one of your speeders.
It's a small price to pay for everybody's safe arrival. And who's this?
This is Bodokuna. He's a friend.
It's so nice to finally meet you.
This hunk of trouble. Hey, we're all together. Huh?
Yes. Now, what brings you all to Jedi?
We're searching for a lost planet. Tanalorr, you ever heard of it?
It's on the other side of a deadly nebula called the Kobo Abyss.
Well, our archives are far from complete, but I'm sure Master Cordova's up to the task.
With pleasure.
The trouble is, we're not the only ones looking for this place.
I knew this was sounding too easy.
Guy's name is...
I don't remember what Seer's official rank is within there. I think she was only ever a Jedi Knight. I think Cordova's actually technically the only Jedi to reach the rank of Master. And I know that I know Cal has officially been knighted. We saw that in a flashback. So we have two Jedi. I think we have two Jedi Knights and a Jedi Master.
I'll start with the bad news.
Oh boy, this guy knows his audience.
I found no information related to crossing the Kobo Abyss. However, I found two mentions of...
Downside is it's much harder to see.
He had a retreat on Kobo.
YouTube's emojis don't have a pumpkin. Boo. Aw.
A laboratory on its moon.
Okay, we'll check him out.
If you find anything, bring it to me. I am happy to assist further.
Thank you. Both of you.
You're welcome, Cal. I hope you find what you're searching for.
May the Force be with you.
And with you.
And we'll probably save our game and call this here, because this is a really good place to punctuate. We've got, we should have a meditation circle over here. Yep. And we now have a couple of...
Escort you back to the Mantis.
Okay.
Not joining us?
I cannot.
I do have little pumpkins. Those are adorable, by the way. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do this. I think I only have one... I don't have any skill points. We'll rest. I think we're going to go ahead and call it here. That was pretty good. That wasn't bad at all, actually. So let me move things over. Look at that. I just scrolled down on the emoji list. Nice. They're really adorable little pumpkins, too. Little jack-o'-lanterns. Not bad. We were able to get pretty far. I mean, we were able to make a whole bunch of progress on Jedi and make kind of a punctuation. We're in the archives. Not bad at all. It was a lot of fun. I know things are... I'm going to be kind of quick on this part of it, but I want to say thank you to everybody for popping in, saying hi and talking with me, speaking philosophy, pop culture, opinions, just all kinds of different things on here. I always appreciate when I have the opportunity to speak with everybody, and you guys are just fantastic. Fighting Max, Ash, Viddy, and Gib. It was so good to see Gib again. I haven't seen him in so long. It was good to just hear from him. So I hope everything is going super well for you, Gib. If you happen to watch this through to the end or whatever, or if you happen to see the end, I hope everything's going famously for you. I haven't seen your stuff in a while, so I need to see if my alerts are on or whatever. If you're still going, I'm so sorry, but I got to take a look and see how things are. I don't think we've gotten to talk in like 3 or 4 years, so it's been a while, but it's really nice to have gotten to hear from you. Now the chat retro is in the Goosebumps story, Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. Gamers beware, you're in for a scare. R.L. Stein. I never read the Goosebumps books. But yeah, I want to say thank you to all of you guys for popping in and talking with me, and yeah, just thank you so much for being here. I apologize that my tech hasn't worked, so if there was anything that was jumpy, jittery, spotty, please do forgive it, as I'm still working to fine-tune it, but I think we at least got enough fixed to get a stream out of it, which was a lot of fun. And so I hope you guys are going to have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your weekend. I'm so happy that I got to do it on a Saturday, so you get to enjoy all of the rest of your Saturday and all of your Sunday. For Viddy, you get to enjoy all the rest of your Sunday, so you're not going straight into a weekday after whatever I've done to perturb you in this case. But thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you guys the next time. Thanks.